which is always a really strong, always a really strong start. But in E District, we're seeing Aurora over on that western side, DMG. Where are DMG? I am blanking on where they are landing. They're landing on E-Bank. They're right in the middle, which does not have great loot, despite the fact that it is so massive.
It isn't, and I think the way that sort of DMG play, I mean, what's really interesting is they yesterday had an absolutely insane performance in terms of the way in which they got their points. Yes, they got so many kills. I mean, you saw that from Chaos Feelings alone, getting 20. However, the fact that actually they were consistently getting into those top positions, playing a composition with Watson very often as well, means actually, for instance, an Energy Bank zone landing will actually give them that capability to get themselves into a position early. They can rotate quickly to most areas of the map from E-Bank.
Yeah, so I'm really curious just on how things are going to adjust. And also, this is before we even talk about legend bans, right? We're going in. We expect to see the Caustic. We expect to see the Newcastle, the Altar, a lot of that, the Valkyrie. Those are some of our early legends we expect to see taken off the board once they do get played enough. However, what we saw, at least in the redemption bracket yesterday, was teams really diversifying when we got into the lower tier of characters, where some people either through comfort or through what they thought was strong, were picking up different characters. We saw some Octane. We saw a Bloodhound in our last game, which I did not expect. I love Bloodhound. They're my favorite. They're not very good right now.
At least wait until the new season, am I right? Like Bloodhounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping for yourself. I did see on stream yesterday you describe yourself as a Bloodhound, a Bloodhound main or connoisseur even.
Yeah.
For me, I'm personally about Crutch. Like that's all I can play in terms of legends. So for me, I just want to see a load of Valkyrie in here because why not just have a little bit of Uberfest? It's always good fun.
I do think it's very funny where like previously I would have said like, oh yeah, like I kind of crutch on Bloodhound. There's no crutch anymore. You have to be sprinting on your own 2 feet with that character at this point. But we are getting into our first match of the day. Haven't even gotten to mention also Crypto in his current state is just bonkers. The amount of ults you can get off, the amount of information that character can bring, and especially where we're starting here, it's going to be really interesting. We're going into E District where there's a lot of buildings that Crypto can just sit down and chill and do what he likes to do best.
I mean, just looking through at the moment, we're going to be jumping into the game very soon. And just based on the picks that we're potentially going to be seeing, I'm already seeing around about maybe sort of 8 cryptos in play, which is potentially going to be devastating, particularly when you've got a lot of caustics around. And that crypto is going to be able to wipe out a lot of those traps, a lot of that defensive capabilities. But we are still seeing, I guess, as we mentioned, as we anticipated, a lot of caustic, also a lot of altar as well, as we're going to be going on to E District for this first map. Not surprised that we probably will be seeing a lot of altar.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got to E District yesterday at the point where Altar got banned, so we did not see any Altar because E District was our final map. So Altar got banned, and then we got onto E District. And it was like, wow, that feels a little sad. But I'm interested now to see because this map was made for Altar. Altar just has the perfect amount of space to be able to go through so many of those walls. You've got Caustic on this map as well, who could just barrel up. Newcastle or Crypto is what a lot of teams are running as their thirds in this first match, and Newcastle sets up those defenses even harder. Crypto, we've already talked about. It's gonna be a lot of hunkering down in this first couple of matches.
It certainly is. We did see Newcastle was really prevalent going through the winners bracket in terms of the capacity to stay alive. But as we jump into the map, we're instantly getting that ring pull, which is great to see. I believe that will be the caustic of VLF, who has sent us down towards draft point. Not a bad end zone to start with, and very good if you are Team Brown, Team Asian Banger, and also the mean guys fully talked. I mean, you can already see that there's teams going to be heading straight up towards that zone.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that want to get into that spot. I do honestly want to see where teams like DMG or Aurora kind of come down from, just because there's the possibility of getting a little active early here. There's also just the possibility of chilling for a long time. E-District lends itself really heavily to that, and I think, do we want to see these teams that we know are coming in strong just take fights? Do they think they're that mechanically better? Or do they want to just get there and play it safe, play it standard because they feel they understand the flow of the game better?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be, I mean, I'm super interested. This first game here, I'm an E-District absolute lover. And the fact that we're going to be getting this as the first map with no legend bans already, I think it's just going to be a super exciting start to this map. Cybercats are going to be landing over towards Boardwalk, and they're going to be instantly hitting a little bit of a jump tower to make their way down. Currently in the zone, we have already got around about 7 or 8 teams I can see on the map to my right, which is just, it's just incredible. I love it. This is not what you were getting in the latest stages of the redemption round or the group stages, that's for sure.
Definitely not. We're checking in on Fully Torqued, who are one of those teams in that ring already, and they have gotten themselves in perfect position here. Would expect this ring to go in and around this area specifically too, so Fully Torqued can just chill here. Running the Seer as well. They are, I think, the only team running the Seer, and we didn't even see Seer get picked up until very late yesterday when a lot of other legends were off the board. So I'm very curious what the Seer brings to the table that something like a Crypto would not. So I want to see what Fully Torqued do with this.
I do love to see a bit of Seer. I mean, Seer can really change a fight. I mean, we saw that at LAN with the likes of Space Station Gaming. Not Space Station Gaming anymore. they got picked up by Shopify Rebellion, obviously, where the Seer was absolutely devastating when you did get into fights. So I'm interested to see how that does go. Meanwhile, we are seeing our first knocks go down in the feed, and that is going to be Hambino getting taken down for the Mean Guys, who they're rocking Octane.
Yep. You know, just run the Octane. Why not? It obviously got a good couple of changes, although from my understanding, not a lot of people are seeing Octane as competitively viable for the most part. However, obviously, some people are going to have different reads. Important to note, we don't have a professional meta on the current patch because there just aren't games running right now. A lot of teams are taking breaks after the finals. So we're going to see a lot of what people think is strong, not what we have tangible data to say is strong.
Absolutely. I mean, the recent LGS championships obviously played on the previous patch, and we're going to be getting a new patch on Tuesday, which is going to be what all of the new comps going to be getting played on. So, as you rightly mentioned, there hasn't really been that much in the way of tournaments being played on this particular patch, which has just led to some really exciting action, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams really opting to go for some unique compositions here, as we're seeing Alter do what Alter does best, and just porting in, throwing down a barrel and getting out with Caustic. That's just mean. That's just evil.
I mean, Aurora right now, they, as I mentioned, they were the demons of E-District throughout the group stages and the winners final. So for them, they are going to be wanting to have a good game. Right now, they are currently located very close to Enigma down at Viaduct, with the Mean Guys also nearby, having got the full Hambino back into the game. As you can see, 60 players back into this and a full 20 squads to boot. And that's as round 1 closes. 0 players or teams dead. I love to see it.
It's going to be a very slow one. You know, we said, are the top teams going to try and take those fights, or are they going to play it slow? And I think they realize, hey, a lot of teams going to rotate early. Taking fights is very risky. The third-party potential raises dramatically when teams move to the ring fast, and Brown might be experiencing that right now. Look at all the drones on the map right now as well.
I absolutely love it. I mean, the buffs that Crypto had are insane, and you've seen an EMP going out January and February, trying to do whatever they can to get March back up onto their feet. I'm very happy about that. I did see March was not called March in the winners bracket. I requested the change to happen, and it has come in, but unfortunately, It has not worked out thus far. They've got the banner back. They are able to hit the reset thanks to January being on the crypto. But right now, they are just under so much pressure.
Exactly, yeah, and they're trying to find an out right now because they can't stick around for too long. March has fallen, and February going to be moving away. We see Mean Guys looking around for their own rotate, but they are walking through the ring right now, and they do not seem to be in the best of situations.
I mean, the Mean Guys, which is quite insane. They went down to Shipyard, I believe. Oh, Aurora, sorry. Aurora getting knocked. This might be the first time that we are seeing Aurora not make it to a top 2. Oirain trying to do what they can to survive. Altar Portal's going out. They're surviving for now, but they are getting chased right now by Keepstar's team, which is Enigma, I believe.
Yeah, it is not looking good. Aurora able to survive for right now, and the density of this map here, both in terms of walls and just the amount of teams that are around here, is going to give Aurora a way out. But how do you get yourself back into this match becomes the real question, because it does not look very likely. You've got to find a place to craft and then also find a place to get your revive off and somehow win a fight afterwards. Speaking of fights, we've got G2W in the middle of one right now, and they are going to wipe the floor with No Name, but they've got to set themselves back on their feet.
Gooning for Wig, they were the winners of game number 1 in the winners bracket. So they are looking to see if they can replicate that in the match point finals. I know that they would love to do that, make Wig proud and take the win in this match point finals. They've done well, taken out No Name as Brown also go down on the kill feed as we're down to 18 squads as round 2 does begin to close.
G2W able to set up their defenses, and this is where the Caustic and the Newcastle come into play very heavily here. This is a very well-rounded composition. The Valkyrie just takes the big guys into where they need to go, and then they protect the Valkyrie in order to get a late-game victory, and you can see that coming just to fruition in the current state of this game. So we're also looking around, seeing all the cryptos, all the drones, everybody on their iPad right now, just hanging around and seeing what's going on around them.
What I do want to note, by the way, as we did get a little look there at where that zone is going to be going, is it's going to be moving down towards the sort of moving slightly southeast to the map. The likes of DLF fully talked to me, very happy about it. But somebody who's also going to be very happy is Aurora, who've managed to get themselves back in. I'm assuming what they managed to do there is because they had the altar as the last player surviving, they were able to pick up those banners from afar and got the full team back in. So Aurora back into this game. They're not out of it yet. Mean Guys, meanwhile, are going to be looking, and there is Enigma closing in very close on them.
Right now, we've got Enigma trying to get into some safety here inside of this building. And just will heal up. They've got a ways to go into this ring, and not just that, but they know there's teams on the edge of it here, so they don't have time to heal up as they get in the ring. They've got to fight their way through.
They do indeed, and they have got to fight through the Mean Guys, I believe it is going to be. They're closing in on the mini-map. Expect a fight, I imagine, happening pretty soon, as that's exactly what's happened. Sang has taken down Clover, Keepstar taken down by Jiggy Jake, and it's just Ange left for Enigma. Are they going to be able to get out the zone? We'll have to wait and see whether it does happen. Throwing out some Sparrow Qs just to try and survive for now, as we are seeing Hambino sat inside that drone, giving surveillance to his team. Hopefully, for him, they'll be able to pick up those points, because they did obviously get taken down to... Hambino got taken down earlier. He's going to be hitting an EMP on this team as well, which is insane.
It's just free damage. You know what? Just send it right now. And Me Guys there taking the opportunity to go. They've got Jiggy Jake on the Octane, and they're able to get one, but they do have only 2 members to work with. And Hambino, I think they're going to go down. They're very low HP. Will stay up for now, but I think Jiggy Jake making the right call to get out of this fight while you're still healthy.
I mean, going up against Aurora was not an easy one, and what also is not easy is going up against DMG. Asian Banger flying on in and has been eliminated there with the help as well of Fully Torqued Lumix.
Just taken out just very, very fast there. That is really rough in terms of a landing there, and that's where, you know, with the Valk, you've got to make tough calls. They should have known that team was inside that building at that point, and that is a really unfortunate call or just a not ideal call, depending on what exactly got them to that point. Fully torqued. We have checked in on them a couple of times. They have just been hanging around here. They made a really smart call on where this ring is coming in, and now they've got to protect their spot because there are people peeking in to see, hey, is this occupied? Can we hang out in here?
Well, thankfully for Fully Talked, they did enough damage there to scare off the team. So for now, they are going to be safe. But as you can see, Jodland on the Seer is going to be trying to spot out people, hit them with the Qs, and actually has hit a full family of 3, I believe.
Now throwing out these bows, or the arrows rather. Dilducks do get eliminated, as we see in the kill feed. Fully torqued, just holding their ground, and Aurora wanting to get themselves back on the map strong. They are going to get a couple of knocks, go for the reload on the Nemesis. There's Flesh, and that's lost at sea. Just wiped away. Aurora, despite the revives, are strong as ever.
They are doing an insane job right now to get themselves into the zone. It has been a tough rotate for them after going down to just Jero. As we can see from the minimap, they actually have got a little bit of space to move up into. Obviously, they have got the baby seals with our February, obviously different to the other February in the map from Brown, who is already out of this. But Aurora have got an opportunity to move up. Meanwhile, I am looking at that north of the map where we've got the likes of Enigma, 5-star, the Titans, DMG, all going to be having to move in from the north, and this is going to be a tough rotate for them.
Very tough rotate because they are out in the open here. Granted, nobody is in this exact spot. They can hang out here for a little bit, but they've got 25 seconds before they've got to go across a large swath of teams that are in front of them. It is not going to be a fun time. Hopefully, they can at the very least get Clover into the purple shield range here, because having blue shields at this point while you're fighting that often, not ideal.
It certainly is, but good job by them to actually get themselves back in, because they did go down to a 1, as have T2G Titans. Thankfully, they've got the Newcastle who's sticking the reses, but it isn't enough right now. Well, I say that, I mean, we jumped off their POV, and they actually look like they have been taking down some people in the feed, so we'll have to wait and see if the T2T Titans do go down or if they're managing to survive. Right now, though, they have taken down Dig Vibes, as we can see.
Dig Vibes gone. Also, Fully Torqued have fallen as well. We did not see exactly what happened with them, but they are gone. T2G Titans, they're setting their resets right now, thanks to an altar port, 5-star. With the loss of Dig Vibes, they will survive for now, but they, again, this is one of those situations where you likely don't have a great chance to get your team back to a full party. You've got to do what you can with what you've got, and G2W also gatekeeping right now.
G2G doing a huge job, but that caustic gas is doing so much damage. They're surviving for now, holding this little bit of hype, but unfortunately it's the Newcastle that goes down. That's not the one that you want to fool. I think, though, because they have got this little bit of height, they should survive as long as the nades don't hit. Get behind that Newcastle shield, revive him right now.
Newcastle luckily still able to pull that shield over while downed too, which is very, very huge. DMG keeping their eyes open. They have to shoot this team down if they want to move forward, and they're going to have to move forward in the next 40 seconds. We are down to 11 squads. Ring 5 right now, by the way. This is a very sketchy time for some of these teams because it is so heavily populated.
It really is. I mean, 11 squads at this stage is actually unreal. This is why I love E-District games. They are insane. As DMG are currently trying to look up this bridge, trying to put shots down onto IDK, who are just about going to be able to get themselves into zone. But it's a team that you mentioned at the beginning who have got a great spot, and that is the Baby Seals. On the south side of the bridge, they've actually got the most amount of this high ground in. And what we're going to have to wait and see whether they do enough to hold this. But Gooning for Wig right now, they do have the Valkyrie. Obviously, at the moment in time, they are probably the furthest team away from zone. So I wouldn't be surprised if they hit it, and that's exactly what is going to be happening right now. Gooning for Wig, taken for the skies that we've already seen here this evening. Asian Banger with a really questionable Valkyrie ult. Are they going to be doing something very similar to them, or are they going to be able to find a spot using that Valk perk to be able to see where people are located? They've actually managed to get themselves into this building underneath the bridge. Not a bad spot for Gooning to win.
Not a bad spot, especially with the Newcastle. That's what really does make this what would be kind of an iffy spot to play, a solid spot with the extra defenses. Cybercats in what I would say is probably one of the best spots still in this ring, on this high ground, on this building. It is very difficult to try and push them, and they also have the ability to set up their own caustic barrels, so you can't walk up easily either. This is a beautiful spot for Cybercats. The question is, can they get enough cover on that high end to get up and hold it?
I mean, this right now is, I believe, EMEA versus EMEA action. Aurora versus Cybercats on the height. We'll have to wait and see who comes out as the victor, as that fight probably will look to stall a little bit, as DMG are now going to be pushing up onto the team just ahead of them, trying to take the space onto the bridge, and they have dropped down, taking down Blaze right now.
DMG holding ground. IDK do get eliminated now, and I expect we'll see a couple of other teams go down. We have 20 seconds here. 8 squads in this ring. It is anybody's game.
It certainly is. And DMG, the winners of our winners bracket, have got themselves such a good spot right now on the height. But Future Streams gets taken down by Alonzi of the Cybercats. The scout popping shots from the building across, but thankfully they do have Chaos Feelings. Probably my MVP for the winner bracket, dragging his teammate back to the feet. So for now, DMG are back onto their feet, back looking strong, and they have got the height. And I would say probably one of the best positions to take this game away.
DMG have been able to, most importantly, stay out of a lot of these fights. Unlike Enigma, who are in the thick of it at this moment. Clover has gone down, going to be jumping back over to the team, but that death box actually keeps Clover out of the building, and that gets them killed. Enigma have lost their caustic, and they might have lost their game. They're able to get one knock. Now Ange getting behind the wall to buy a little bit more time. Can't finish off the caustic, and we are seeing Keepstar having to walk over, tank so much ring, but the ring is going to keep going. Can they even climb up here?
I do not know. Enigma doing such a good job to at least survive as a 2, because I thought they were down and out for a second there. DMG, meanwhile, are still on top of this bridge as the Cybercats do fall to Kane. They've also got the car in hand, in Future Streams in hands, and that is a devastating combo as they're throwing out the nades to this team ahead of them. I don't know who that they are fighting, but right now this is big damage going down, and it's Podge & Co. I believe that this is going to be Baby Seals. Or Goody for Wink even have gone down.
G2W, 5-star, Baby Seals all eliminated. We've got 3 teams remaining. And now DMG in prime position right now. Aurora, this is not what I would call prime position. So they are going to have to jump right into the fight. Not what they wanted. Enigma's already gone, and it is a free victory there. DMG hold their ground to take game number 1.
DMG coming out as your victors of game number 1, followed up by the second place team from the winners bracket. It is a 1 and 2 replication from winners bracket, with Aurora coming in second, maintaining their status as the Demons of E-District. I don't know how they managed to get back, considering they fell down to 1 earlier on, but Aurora coming in with a second place there. The DMG closing it out, 14 kills to DMG, followed up by 11 to Aurora in second. This is an excellent start for both of those teams who finished that winners bracket so well.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to Aurora for getting a second place there. That is bonkers. I thought we were going to see the end of them in that fight earlier in that. But DMG, we said there were like 2 teams that were in really strong positions. It was Cybercats, it was DMG. And the fact that Cybercats could not hold that high ground, had to constantly fight for it. Meanwhile, DMG, nobody could really easily contest them. They could just hold that high ground for a long, long time, and there wasn't really too much worry there of teams pushing them. They got the opportunity to poke, and by the time everybody else showed up, they were weakened enough that DMG could just easily take them out.
Most certainly there. I think DMG, they did such a good game, managing to push through. They took out, as we mentioned, I mentioned a little bit earlier in there, where DMG were pushing up onto IDK on the bridge. IDK got taken out by DMG, and then DMG took out the only other team on the height, which was the Baby Seals. And just those 2 victories alone pretty much secured them the win by having that height, having no pressure, unlike the likes of Aurora, who had to leave that building that they were in with the Cybercats. And by the time they ended up getting to that fight, DMG were basically just hand wrapped and gift basket
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, I mean, like we can talk a lot about how DMG got to that position, but yeah, executing on that final couple of minutes there was not terribly difficult. That is not to take away from their victory. However, it does say a lot about their ability to pick the right spots that they weren't contested in, right? Like you could say, oh, it was like super easy for them, and it's like, yeah, mechanically, but you got to know to be there in the first place.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a great showing. I mentioned before the stream about Chaos Feelings being my MVP from Winners Bracket. And once again, with 7 kills, absolutely insane. Already coming out as my MVP at this moment in time, but not to be overshadowed by his teammates with YDJ on the Caustic getting 5 kills. Won't be able to play Caustic, though, as we go into this next round, as the first legend banned is going to be the Gas Man himself.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really surprised by that. that is kind of just expected. Wouldn't be surprised to see either the Crypto or the Newcastle, probably at the Newcastle, taken off in our second game here, which will make things interesting. DMG off to a strong start though. First place finish, 14 kills, 26 points. They are over halfway to the match point threshold already.
Insane start. Absolutely love to see that. I do want to give a big shout out as well to the Baby Seals, as we mentioned. They came in as a lower seed. You mentioned you wanted to highlight them before Thousand Eyes, in that they were not necessarily expected to make it in, but they're actually already up into 5th position because of how well they played that. So big shout out to Baby Seals. But we are going to be jumping over to our next map now, and that is going to be World's Edge. And I'm just having a quick look right now at some of the POI drafts, and obviously, Aurora came in with the 2nd place going into the POI draft, and they ended up coming away with everybody's favorite of West Skyhook. So, are there anybody else looking at this POI draft, Tessa, that you would say, you know what, I'd be pretty happy with that?
I mean, like, it's tough because the big thing is that you got to remember you're picking one spot in the draft on one map. So like, yeah, it's like you could get a really good pick in your first pick, but then like you might end up in a bad spot on another map, and how much does that matter? It kind of brings up again the consistency issue, because we look at a team like Baby Seals at Zoo Station, really solid spot to be in, especially like 5-star and Lightning Rod on Storm Point, really good spots. Look at other spots, just DMG were in E-Bank in our last game. Not generally a spot that you want to land on.
Well, I mean, you say that. They are a team that, as we mentioned, likes to try and play for zone and then get kills once they get into zone. And they had the first pick of the draft, and they opted today to play at Monument, which is not normally a place that people pick as a first pick. I'd say people do tend to go over to West Skyhook because of the loot differential, but DMG going once again for the center of the map so that they can loot out and try and get themselves to the drop zone, to the end zone as quickly as they can. As we're actually going to see that ring pull here, and it's going to be going towards them, towards more sort of the north-hand side of the map. So it might end up, to be honest, being a Monument pull.
Yeah, I mean, I would say likely going to be it's either Monument or it's in that survey camp epicenter area, which, hey, there we go. There we go. I have studied rings a lot over my time, especially on World's Edge and Storm Point. E-District still figuring out, but yeah, and that's the thing too, is like when we look at the spread of teams that we have here and the experience levels that we have, those abilities to predict rings become really crucial. And they can be make or break, because if you make a call and you get it wrong, your rotate becomes disgustingly hard. Whereas these teams that already have really good skill now also are in the right spot at the right time. That level of knowledge is one of those things that you don't really think about when you talk about some of these teams, but it's really, really crucial. And that gulf in knowledge can become not very seen in some of these kinds of games.
Most definitely can. I think so. There's obviously in this lobby right now, we've got some very experienced IGLs, and I think that probably a lot of them will be able to anticipate where this ring is going to be pulling. I would anticipate that DMG are probably one of those teams that will be able to figure out pretty quickly where they anticipate it to go, as we are going to be seeing people already starting to rotate north and making their way up towards Monument Survey Camp area, and obviously to that little Grandma's House area that people. I think quite a lot of them will be expecting it to pull potentially. But we are seeing here the T2G Titans. They are in a little bit of fight right now, and that is going to be up against Asian Banger.
Very much is. Here is T2G taking a lot of poke right now. You can see they've gone for that Rampart for just more defensive capabilities. What was the caustic became. Oh, this is not a great opportunity to go anywhere, guys. I don't think that's exactly what you wanted to do, and that Valkyrie might spell their doom. They're able to get the Valkyrie back up, but at the cost of the whole team. And Asian Bagger take T2G out for our first blood.
Heartbreaking there for T2G. A little bit of a misplay with the Valkyrie, I'd say. And unfortunately, they do get eliminated. As we are also seeing Fluent Peg also getting taken out by Jiggly Jake and the Mean Guys. But that is redemption for Asian Banger, who obviously had a little bit of a rough one in game number 1 with their questionable Valcult. And so they get their comeuppance in that they get to take out a team who has a questionable Valcult.
Fully Torqued, another team that we saw kind of just chilling for a while and then ended up not being able to survive in the late game. Now, hopefully, a little bit of an easier time. They do have to move a lot more, and you can see that in their legend picks. They've got the Mad Maggie, who's just a lot better at maneuvering around the map, not as much in terms of they are not running the Newcastle here like they were in the previous map.
They weren't, and I think that's really interesting to see because Fully Talked throughout the sort of winners and the group stages, they were a hyper aggressive team, and so for seeing them getting on the Maggie is not something I'm too surprised at, particularly as they've got the Seer and the Altar in there as well. So this is a team that just like to get aggressive, and I mean we saw this here. Kates and Lunix, they were. I believe the people from the they were members of the Twerkaholics team who did really well at the LGS Open last year, alongside and I've forgotten his name, which is really bad. Floating, of course. So they're a team that likes to get aggressive, and I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to fight. But we are seeing Hambino's team now getting taken down in an extended fight right now up against the Mean Guys down towards the tree.
We're going to see if Mean Guys can get out of this one because that's pretty much their best opportunity. They're trying to fight it as best they can. They're throwing down the nades, Sang having to hit some heals. Jiggy Jake love to be able to get this Octane back up, and seems like they'll have the opportunity to. No, not going to. Unfortunately, that altar portal still there just long enough to pop up, and IDK barely. Oh my goodness, going into the ring there was a little scary, but they will be able to get at least one of the members back up and grab the banner.
IDK, I'd assume that they'd be able to get out of here. The only thing that they will have to worry about is the fact that baby seals are close by. So there is a chance that potentially IDK do get caught out. But we are going to be moving over here to the Zesty Besties, who are going to be going up against the Fully Talk team that we saw a little bit earlier on here, who are going to be rocking another aggressive combo here. We've got the Maggie versus the Fuse in this action by the Mirage Tour.
You said Mirage and stopped, and I got really excited that there was maybe a Mirage at the game. It was misplaced excitement, but it was excitement nonetheless. SD Besties on their move right now, running again. We're already seeing these unique compositions: the Conduit, the Altar, and the Fuse. This is again a very heavy skirmish team. This is a team that wants to fight. Throw out the Fuse Qs for extra damage. Throw out the Conduit tacticals for the extra shields. As IDK, we see going for the respawn and apparently going for a fight at the same time.
And this is going to be up against the baby seals that we mentioned were coming out of Thermal Station just a moment ago. IDK have managed to get the full reset, which is a good thing for them at least. And they are going to be able to also get all the loot that they obviously had in that fight up against the Mean Guys. So For now, it looks like the Baby Seals are going to be backing off. They don't have a Valkyrie to rotate, but they are obviously going to be able to use that evac tower just up ahead, potentially, which I wouldn't be surprised if they end up using as they make their way now up towards Lava Siphon via the little zip line that they've got.
A lot of teams still having to come in from this southern side of the ring, and that is going to come to a head very quickly. Landslide is going to get populated by at least 3 teams coming up here as we can see them getting closer to each other. Might see that team in staging as well, try to make their move up into the same area, which could get very hectic very fast. One of these teams is Zesty Besties, that team that is running the Conduit Fuse, and they look like they want to just full send this. They are getting an idea of where that team is, and they are poking to see, can we move after a crack?
Looking to see if they can get those poke damage over onto them. I believe that might be No Name that they're looking at right now. So whether they end up trying to go through them, we'll have to wait and see. Or they might try and go all the way around towards Skyhook, which may be the slightly better move, depending on whether they can get their way in. But if they do go that way, they have got the likes of Cybercats and Enigma, which is not going to be an easy rotate. Meanwhile, 5-star currently locking it down over at the epicenter. Looking out right now with the crypto in hand, but Lost at Sea are getting into a fight and some lovely shots there onto the Newcastle. But unfortunately, it's the Valkyrie that goes down first.
Yeah, the Valkyrie falling and Lost at Sea, not having a lot of HP on their Newcastle either. They are able to pull the Valk back up. They've had enough time, enough cover to make that work, but it is Aurora that they're up against, and Aurora, who are a little bit healthier, trying to get an idea of where people are throwing out the scam, but they don't see a way to get their advantage in this fight, so they will just disengage.
They will indeed. In the feed, though, we are seeing Fully Talked have got aggressive. They throw that Maggie Ball forward, and they've taken down the Baby Seals over by Harvester. They are going to... And they've actually opted not to go for the res. They're trying to get out of this. Probably the right move for now, as Fully Talked are going to be running into zone and taking a lot of damage, as I don't know. Sees them and manages to stop that res from happening, and as they make their way up now towards Monument, where DMG are actually still going to be located.
IDK able to ruin the day there for Fully Torqued, and what was a solid victory for Fully Torqued with the possibility of a solid reset. Now IDK able to stop from happening. Now the question is, did IDK screw themselves over in the process? Because they are running with their backs to the ring, and there is a lot of teams still in this area. Looking at Cybercats right now, as we do see Fully Torqued do fall into the ring of all things. They just did not have enough time to get themselves healthy.
Cybercats, meanwhile, are going to be battling it out over this little drill area. I did see yesterday that you were casting alongside Big Rich X, and Big Rich was going off on how good the Cybercats flatline was. Will we see a replication of that right now, as Gyozi has managed to get the crypto so low, but the crypto goes actually insane right there. The Cybercats taking down No Name.
Cybercats, I think, coming off of yesterday in such strong fashion, wanted to show up today and prove that they were capable. Have been able to do so far. Seeing some damage thrown down on the naded up bow check. Only 8 arrows left in that, though, so have to be a little more selective with the shots.
There's Wraith right now from Lost at Sea. Going to be throwing out some frag grenades as they reinforce these doors. Obviously, the Rampart are such an important character for holding an area like this, and also conserving your resources as well, because once you get behind those walls, you do have unlimited ammo. As you can see, goes behind, unlimited ammo on the R9, and that's so good in this type of position when you're trying to hold it down early. But unfortunately for them, it does look like the ring is going to be moving slightly away from Survey Camp, maybe more towards the Monument epicenter area on top of that hill. So for them, they are going to have to move soon, as the Cybercats now, off that fight, are looking to get aggressive and take a spot within the zone, or at least just on the edge of the zone.
Cybercats now just kind of hanging around. And unfortunately, this ring going to be a little bit of an issue, not the one currently pulling, but the one afterwards, likely going to be going a little bit more to the east and going to take them into those mountains areas where a lot of teams have probably set themselves up. And the verticality here is deceptively scary, because there could be a lot of teams, a lot of people hiding in those hills, as we see maybe a little bit of help from another crypto throwing out an ult as Zesty Besties are trying to go in.
Zesty Busties doing what they can, but with the Conduit and Fuse, you don't have the cover that something like a Newcastle will be able to provide, and they are going to fall, as Aurora are also going to be taking down some of the Cyber Cats as well. Getting aggressive with the car into that building. This is what the power of an altar can do, and with Slab, with a car in hand, is not something you want to be going up against. Manatos do indeed fall, and they were the team that landed at Survey Camp as well, so they're going to be annoyed that they are not able to capitalize on a really good zone for them. Aurora are going to be continuing this fight right now.
Aurora honestly win that fight pretty handily too, so they're very capable of taking another one. We see G2W go down in the kill feed. Aurora getting some more damage down, and Lost at Sea on the northern side here have to prepare for the amount of teams that will want to come in their direction.
Lovely shots there from Wraith. Wraith on the rampart is a bit of an odd one to say there, but Lost at Sea getting some kills, and with the, as we mentioned, they moved early here, so they don't have the most kitted loadout. Still with blue shields at this stage, but they're going to be hoping that they're going to be able to hold this down and hope that the ring will be continuing to pull up towards them. Shots going out, and they're going to be looking at a few teams around them, the likes of Aurora, DMG, and Seeds to their east.
Asia Bagger currently a little unhealthy, but we do see Osrain able to hold the line for right now, as in comes the Crypto EMP to break some shields, and there's some shots on all sides, throwing down the rampart wall just for a little bit of extra time, but that's just giving time for that team to walk up. The Newcastle going for the res as shields are gone across the board. Asia Bagger can't find a way out, but DMG have come in to avenge the fallen rampart. DMG with the Sheila force the fight back, and Aurora lose Slab.
And Aurora are eliminated. It was really their Asian banger have thrown the game for both Aurora and for themselves. Trying to take the fight up against them, Aurora outplayed them, get the kills, but unfortunately for them, DMG coming in to clean up the action, and they're going to have a great spot over towards the west-hand side of the map, and they may well potentially push up onto Lost at Sea that we saw earlier, but meanwhile, Brown are going to be fighting their way inside of Epicenter. Good shots with the Scout and with the R9. What can March do? Unfortunately falls, and it's just down to January left inside of the Crypto drone, all alone and invisible. However, they do have the ultimates. They're going to be sticking that, dragging the teammates back. But unfortunately, a player moves up. Oh my gosh! 5-star.
What in? Oh my goodness! January able to hold off the onslaught and keep the team alive. DMG, again, they are in our top spot right now. They were over halfway to match point after game 1, and now in game 2, they are in our top 4.
Kraber in play, just misses out, but unlimited ammo Kraber as well is actually insane to see. BU Ford has already been getting, I think, 2 kills in the feed I've seen, and we're hoping that we might be able to see a few more as DMG are going to be pushing up against them.
DMG just feeling strong as ever as they throw out nade after nade, and in comes Sheila once again to break the wall and take away the cover. DMG just gonna fling around, finish off these couple of players, and that is another big win for DMG. And DMG now with they have 13 kills at least on this team. DMG are running the show today.
I mean, DMG did not come to play. They came to win, and they're looking here to go back to back. It's now just it's just duck, well, not duck hunt even. It's going to be hide and seek even with just Seeds and Lost at Sea with a solo left. DMG running around trying to hunt them down. And right now, this is just who can get the final kill on their team.
It really is. Seeds will go down, and that means we just have a little bit left here as DMG able to go for the repeat, and DMG are absurdly strong today.
My lord, that might actually put DMG already onto match point, depending on how many kills they got. I mean, they started this game with 26. There is an opportunity that they've already hit 50 here.
There's very strong opportunity, honestly, that they have already hit 50. But we'll have to see here. I'm also curious what other teams can even be close in the vicinity, because we did see some familiar names in our top points here. But we are more than anything going to have to sing the praises of DMG, because regardless of where the points put them, they are just on a different level than everybody else today.
They most certainly are. I mean, DMG, they got 17 kills in that game. That is actually insane to see. I mean, I'm pretty sure that does. I mean, my maths is normally pretty bad, but with 29 points added to their 27 before, I think it's 55. They have made it already in 2 games. That being said, we've seen so many match point finals where a team goes and starts super strong. I mean, Falcons did it recently. They've done it a lot of times where they get there really quickly, don't end up closing it out. So are we going to see a replication of that here this evening? We are going to have to wait and see. But what it does look like is that we, I think we can try and get the, we'll try and get the scores up for you very shortly. We're going to go for a very quick break, I believe, and we'll be back very shortly to show you what we're going to be doing as we go into our 3rd game over on Stormpoint.
And welcome back, everybody. We are 2 games in, and we have a team on match point already. Not just on match point, but disturbingly on match point in DMG. But we did get confirmation during the break that we have a 4-game minimum. So that means if DMG do win our next game, we are going to have them win and then be removed for the game afterwards to figure out who exactly or where exactly the rest of our standings will continue. But teams are going to be focusing DMG. They are going to watch where DMG is. They are going to watch what compositions DMG wants to play, and they are going to just shoot the hell out of them.
I mean, DMG, an unbelievable start that they have had here this evening. However, I'm just looking here at the map. They have obviously landed center map over on World's End and on E District. However, this time going over onto Stormpoint, they're going to be getting Launchpad, which isn't quite as central, but it's still not a bad POI for them.
Yeah, so why don't we take a look here at our scoreboard and see where everything is currently aligned. DMG at 55 points in game 2, which is gross. Aurora at 31, which is also extremely high. This is a 2-horse race, by the way, here. If DMG do not win this next game, Aurora have a very high chance of getting into that match point threshold, which makes things a lot more interesting. From that point on, though, Enigma at 16, we've got a long way to go before that team is getting into the range of match point.
I mean, it really is a 2-horse race, and we saw DMG take out Aurora in that last game, and that was basically the difference between the 2 teams right there, because Aurora were in exactly that position that DMG were, and they then moved their way down from where Aurora had resided to take the win. Aurora could have done exactly the same if it was the other way around. So at this moment in time, they are the 2 teams that we are looking at to potentially close this one away. Everybody else is so close behind them. I mean, even the teams that are down at the very bottom are within touching distance of 3rd place, which is still where prize money will reside. So everything is still to play for right now. Yes. And as we said, this is match point. This doesn't end now until a match point final team wins. And although DMG have managed to close out both games 1 and 2, that could be it for them in terms of wins on the rest of the day. We've seen it happen before, and it might well happen again, as we are going to be making our way over to Storm Point. One of, I mean, I think it is probably, I think it's up there with my favorite map. I love watching E-District games, but Storm Point for me holds a special place in my heart.
Storm Point in my heart holds a spot that is full of OSHA regulation violations. Um, because there is nothing safe about that area, even more so than some of the other maps, which is crazy to say when there's lava everywhere. But it's Storm Point is a very interesting one, and I am gonna double check here on what our ban is, and it is Alter, which is very important here because I think a legend that does extremely well that has been played a lot in the current series is Newcastle on Storm Point, because Newcastle gives you that extra cover where Storm Point does not have a lot of it naturally.
It definitely will. I mean, I'm super interested to see how this does go. We did see DMG have some really good games on Storm Point yesterday with a Watson in the competition. Not a legend that they've currently played yet, so we'll have to wait and see whether they do end up sticking with the Rampart or moving over to the Watson. Something we'll have to wait and see. But right now, I'm having a look here at the drop. So I mean, I already alluded to DMG landing towards Launchpad area. We do have Aurora over at their favored Cenote, which is not something that's surprising for me. But are there anybody else that you're looking at right now who, you know what, they've got a pretty good POI?
Yeah, I mean, Aurora in a good spot. Cenote is really solid. Just looking at like the really good spots, Pylon is always very good. Mills is contested a lot. Downed Beast is also a really solid spot just in terms of loot. You do have to sometimes rotate a little awkwardly, but I always bring this up with Storm Point specifically in terms of drop spots, is that the higher you are up on the northern side of the map, generally the better off you are in terms of rotations, because you're always going downhill. This map specifically has verticality that is very high in the north and very low in the south. And for Valk teams, that's great for the northern side, really bad for the southern side.
Well, I mean, one team, I was just looking through the draft order, and who was the first team to pick a Storm Point map? And World's Edge was picked for map one, for person one, team 1, 2, and 3. However, team 4 was 5-star, who ended up picking Lightning Rod, which, as you mentioned, one of those POIs up in the north of the map allows them to have those rotates up towards the north and be at that nice northerly elevation. It was closely followed up by a Ceto station pool pick by Asian Banger and a Barometer pick by No Name. So those were your first ones that we saw disappear over on Storm Point, and we'll have to wait and see whether they are POIs that work favorably for those teams.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look and see just where things shake out. It also just really does depend where our ring decides to pull us, because yeah, some of those barometer rings can get really sketchy if you're not running a Valkyrie to get in on that area, because the more teams get in, the harder it becomes to get in, specifically on barometer, because there's no cover walking into barometer. It is entirely free and open. You are on open seas, open waters, and you are very likely to get picked off on your way over. But you move over to something like Mills, or something like the trenches up near North Pad, where there is a lot more cover to work with. There's just heavy choke points. If you can fight your way through those, it becomes a little bit of a different story.
Well, I think for the rest of the map, they are going to be hoping that we don't go to Barometer, purely because DMG did get a win there yesterday in a pretty unbelievable game. I had to say, go back, watch the Cracked Media VODs over on the Twitch or on the YouTube channel to see the winners bracket win that they got. They went up against Mean Guys, who landed at Barometer. However, unfortunately for Mean Guys, they had an Octane and a Maggie, I believe. And it really wasn't the best composition to be holding down a POI such as Barometer. But yeah, DMG came in. They had the Watson in tow. They had a Wraith as well, which I would not be surprised if we end up seeing DMG picking that Wraith once again to be able to get those rotations now that we do have, obviously, the Altar taken away from them. So yeah, I'm excited to see what we end up getting in there. Back here to the picks. I'm going to be looking here over at the right hand side of the map for some of those teams that maybe I was at least hoping to see a little bit more of. I think for me, one of those is Fully Talked. I know that obviously this is a slightly different environment to that they saw before, where you can maybe get away with being a bit more aggressive. And for them, they've continued to try and play those aggressive compositions with Sia and Maggie and Alter, and it hasn't yet quite worked. So whether they continue to try and keep that aggressive comp, or maybe try and move on to something different for this match point finals as we continue through the games, is something I'm interested to see.
Yeah, I'm also want to point out here, G2W have been surprisingly solid despite the increase in skill level going into today here, where we have gone from, they surprised me in the redemption matches. I am very surprised to see them in 4th place of all things here with this grand finals. They have been doing very, very well, all things considered. It's just kind of unfortunate that you have 2 teams that are running away with it at the moment.
Most certainly, man. G2W, they won game number 1 in the winners bracket. However, that was pretty much all they did. And unfortunately for them, that winners bracket kept them in the top 10 up until that final game where Asian Banger and Enigma managed to steal their place away from them and push them into the redemption round. So for Gooding to Wig, it's good to see that they've started well, just like they did in winners bracket. But it's whether they're able to continue with that consistency, which is something which we didn't see the last time that they were in a slightly more higher skill level lobby.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes open here as we get a little bit further in. We are loading into our match on Storm Point. Now, with everything being on 2 teams, one thing to note, and while it hasn't happened yet, still important to keep in mind, those 2 teams go out, suddenly there is a lot of points on the board for a lot of teams that want them so very bad. So if something happens where 1, those 2 teams fight each other and eat themselves alive, or 2, those 2 teams get third-partied in a rough way, the game and the series opens wide for a lot of teams to just take their chance.
Most certainly will. I mean, DMG is that team, obviously, we're going to be keeping an eye on. But there's lots of teams out there who we're hoping that we'll have a good game on Storm Point right now. We will be jumping in now to our 3rd game of the evening. As we jump on down, before we see any ring pulls, are there any final zones that you would like to see in this game here?
I really like barometer rings. I really, one of the things I do like, and I'm going to be really probably not agreed upon with this, is I like checkpoint zones because they're specifically just because they're so few and far between. For those who don't know, checkpoint does not have a lot of valid ending zones. So anybody who sees a checkpoint zone and recognizes it as one, I think deserves a lot of kudos, and I would love to see who actually does know that.
I mean, a checkpoint end zone would be absolutely hilarious to see, just because it's so rare, but it's not something which we're likely to see. That being said, at the moment in this time, we are seeing there's a chance it might pull. DMG DJ is going to be hitting that ring console, and it's going to be moving slightly more over towards Mill, the Bean, and Ceto Station. Unfortunately, no checkpoint for now.
No checkpoint. However, Mill's ending, classic. A lot of teams should have experience with this and should have some knowledge of how to get there and where to hold based on where they have landed and where they want to go. So we'll need to see just how much practice have teams put in.
Absolutely. I think one team that I'm going to be looking at here for this game is going to be Manitos. They land over at Mill, and they are going to be rocking the Rampart, Newcastle, and Crypto, which is going to be a really great composition as they are likely to be heading over towards that God Rock. And with those rampart walls, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, you've got unlimited ammo behind them with the rampart upgrades, which is going to be so good for them being able to continuously be able to drop out damage. But in the meanwhile, we are getting our first knocks, and that is going to be fully talked, going up against Brown with January and February both getting kills.
Yeah, that is huge there for T2G. So now they are going to be moving around here. See, honestly, I'm just very curious what some of these lower level teams are going to do from here, because I think pressure now is on, because you're looking at the current state of the leaderboard and you're saying, what do these teams like want to do, and how do we stop them? One, and two, how do we get our own momentum going, right? Like, because the clock is ticking at this point. As soon as a team is on match point, there is so much pressure on everybody else to get close to match point.
I mean, the one benefit you have got for this ring is the fact that DMG are landing over at Launchpad. So they've got a long way to go in order to get to the zone. And that being said, I mean, these guys have been playing so well. So for the rest of the teams, it is just about trying to do what they can. And the best way that they can keep this game going is by winning a match. And that's something that I know that Aurora are definitely going to be wanting to do. Already going to be making their way up from Cenote up to the mill, trying to now put damage onto Manatos. As we mentioned, sitting on that God Rock with a Rampart Crypto and a Newcastle. It's not a bad place to be.
Yeah, and Aurora likely will want to stay here for a good long while. And you can see that in their composition. Rampart, Newcastle, boom. Just hang out there, chill, shoot your shots, and try and stay up. Now, they are in a little bit of an awkward spot just purely because there is a team on the rock that is a little bit higher than them, so that is not the greatest place to be. Dilducks are our first team to go out in this match, and they will unfortunately stay at 0 points, it seems.
That is going to be against Fully Talked, who obviously did go down to just one player to the hands of Brown, managed to get their players back in, and they have maintained that aggressive composition with the Maggie, Bangalore this time, and Sia. So an aggressive composition for Fully Talked, and that has reaped the benefits by taking down the Dilducks.
Aurora having to back away, find their own little bit of cover here. They do have their Trident as well, which we noted yesterday is great in terms of just having that extra cover. But Aurora don't even need that. They've got Newcastle Wall, they've got Rampart Wall. They don't need a building to feel safe. They can build their own.
They certainly can, but they have got to be wary of this position. Isn't the greatest to hold, and there are the likes of Gooning to Wig who are going to be floating around. Obviously, Manatos are nearby, but they are not going to be leaving their spot on the top of God Rock. So it's a tough place to hold if a team pushes in aggressively. But for now, I think they should be okay, as we are seeing Asian Banger currently down in those buildings by Bean, and you know what? This is not a bad spot for them to be. It could well be pulling over towards this way, as we did see on the ring pull a little bit earlier. So for Asian Banger, they will be hoping that they can get themselves a good position in the zone, and trying to get a few more points to push themselves up the leaderboard.
Ideally, they would. Round one going to continue closing here, as just going to see where teams exactly want to go. We have a lot of teams still on this eastern side taking their time to get over. One of those teams being DMG. IDK have already set themselves up, and it's again another Newcastle Rampart that seems to be the preferred composition that a lot of teams want to run.
I'm not surprised by that. I think the Newcastle, obviously, we've already seen the power that they can have, and with Rampart, you do, as we mentioned, you've got unlimited ammo when you're behind the walls. You've got a little bit of cover both in front of you and above due to this recent changes, as you can see, the nice little lid on your cover. Seas right now are trying to get aggressive, trying to push up onto this team, and they're throwing some frag grenades in, trying to get them behind the walls, which, when you've got a Newcastle wall, obviously those nades do get stopped, so trying to throw them behind is a smart move if they can, but unfortunately nothing connecting for now. So currently, Seeds are going to think, you know what, let's bounce our way back, let's go back to mill. This fight is not quite worth it.
UFC is just gonna disengage at the moment, and a lot of teams kind of making their move in, and
DMG just
DMG?
went down to the zone. DMG are so far in zone that they're actually trading reses right now deep in zone. They're all the way over by pylon.
Huh. Yeah, they are entirely just dying to the zone, not even like
There's no
giving them
shots.
to anybody. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. 5-star. We are they know there's somebody inside of Downed Beast, and they want to catch them on the run out here, and we are going to have a trident off here. These teams are just going to chase each other, and not looking good as their trident explodes. 5-star now on the run will try and finish this team off entirely.
And that is going to be gooning to Wig, who do fall. Your 4th place team taken down by 5-star, who will now overtake them in the leaderboard because of those kills, showing just how tight it is. The 7th place team was just 1 point behind the 4th place team, and are now going to be 2 points above them.
Huge win there for them as Cybercats on their way into the ring pool themselves. They have 20 seconds before the ring will start to force them inwards, and haven't had too many points of action just yet. Honestly, the entire game has been fairly quiet, all things considered, and I think the mounting pressure is being felt here.
It certainly is. Cybercat trying to make their way over here to the nuts and to the bridges, but they are going to be coming across a couple teams. Zesty Besties being one of them. A perfect swap over by the observers there to show you. But unfortunately, Angry Hornet looks like they have been caught out, but some gorgeous headshots there with the bow.
Takes down to just a sliver of HP, but all it's going to do is just force Zesty Besties to be looking the wrong way. Shot in the back is Hornet, and they will just dip away, leaving Hornet alone. Zesty Besties now out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where they are going to find safety, and they might not be able to here. Fully torqued in the middle of a fight inside the ring as well.
Fully torqued right now, going up against the Baby Seals and getting the better of them for now, deep inside of zone. Meanwhile, we are back on board with the Cybercats versus Mean Guys versus Zesty Besties. A 3-way fight that right now Cybercats are looking very good for.
Cybercats push forward here. They're using the trident just to cut them off as well. just keeping them in sight, getting out the car, and just takes them down as well. Cybercats feeling very comfortable in this fight, and they will be able to get a couple more KP. That is going to be Hambino taken out, so Mean Guys will be down a couple of members at the moment.
They will indeed, but the Zesty Besties come back. They've managed to get their teammates back in. It's a full 3v3. The Cybercats, what are they going to be able to do as Jans is the first to fall? The Zesty Besties doing a good job, and it's just down to the Crypto. Onto the height. The Crypto putting down some good shots with the RE45, and thankfully is going to be able to have a drone, so it's instantly going to get invisible, going to pick up the banners, and throw down a beacon as well. Are they going to be able to get themselves back in the fight?
Yeah, no, just gets the revive, doesn't matter, and Cybercats are back up as 3, so that fight might be able to be won still, although we are going to see Cast go down. So DMG now probably hearing some of these shots and wanting to make their move towards something here. No, they are pinging behind them. They are seeing if they can make a rotate because they have an evac tower that they dropped. And no, I'm actually not sure what DMG are looking for on this.
I don't really know either, but we are seeing Elonzi getting taken down and finished by Deadly Sues of the Zesty Besties. At the moment, the Zesties are getting the besties of the Cybercats.
Yeah, and it's DMG also just kind of recognizing that they don't need to play aggressive. They don't need KP. They don't need much of anything. All they need is a first place finish. But right now, I am honestly just curious what things are going to look like as DMG continue to creep more and more forward into this ring. It is going to come to a strong head there. Once we do get to that point of DMG getting into the ring and starting action, that's where everything kind of becomes important.
What I'm going to be interested in here, as we are going to be seeing DMG make their way over from CXA Station, is the fact that the ring does look like it's going to be pulling down towards those buildings. So the likes of Asian Banger and Lost at Sea are going to be in a great position, as Fully Talked is in a fight right now, making their way out of Checkpoint, a place that you love so well, but they do have Baby Seals and I Don't Know very close to them.
Fully Torqued have to find a rotate position from here, and Smoke will give them a little bit of cover, but not going to give them a whole lot. Heals them up a bit as well, but look at Lunix just taking a big chunk of damage, and the nades are coming in to try and finish him off. Fully Torqued able to back away, but they have people on all sides, and it is just Kate's left alive, and I think these nades are going to force him out, flush him into the open. Fully Torqued go down. No Name go down to Zesty Besties as well, and Zesty Besties have found their footing.
They most certainly have. They've also taken down the Cybercats, and they've now got themselves a good spot in the zone, and are now getting some lovely shots across onto future streams of DMG.
DMG does have to get one of their members back up. Me and guys were in the middle of a fight. Lost Sang, Jiggy Jake doing a jiggy behind the wall as Aurora fly in now to claim one of their spots. Aurora need this game to go well so that they can contest for match point if there is another game available to them.
You can see down there in the minimap, it is going to be pulling over towards this area. A Kraber in the hands of Oirain is something that you do love to see. On that Newcastle, Hayaka has landed them down here into this little spot in the building, opting obviously to take the underneath spot because they were able to see through the walls, as nades are going to be thrown out to try and defend them on this push, as the mean guys are eventually eliminated by the Zesty Besties.
8 squads left, and we still have our match point team. DMG slowly but surely trying to stay in this game. Aurora trying to be the team that can win the whole thing here. Needs some extra time to do so, and they need points more than anything. Arca's looking behind and trying to cover the backside for the Team Brown. Got to throw out their counter Bangalore ult just to buy a little bit of extra time, but the ring is going to start closing on them.
A bit of bang for bang action. Brown versus 5-star, as 5-star are going to be pushing up, and it's Oirain who actually gets the knock from the building with the Kraber. 5-star have been handed this advantage. Are they going to be able to capitalize on this? Darks goes around that corner with the R99, a beautiful spray, as Oirain does get the finish onto January. This is great here for 5-star, as they're going to be able to make their way down, move their way up, and will hopefully be able to get the last finish onto Brown. Brown do fall. Our days of the month are limited and are done.
We have February. We have just gotten into February, but February is apparently over. As Brown will go down. Benitos, we take a look in. They are hunkered down heavily in this spot, but this spot is not where the ring will end. So they are going to have to make a move, and they are going to make that move just right now as Dead Pride sliding down the hill, using a little bit of cover to get that shield bat off. This is the last shield bat available. Dead Pride, they cannot sit here. They've got to make some kind of move. Asian Banger as well, also in the middle of a fight inside where this ring is, and that is going to be with Aurora.
Right now, Asian Banger, they are going to have one of the last spaces inside of the zone that actually is going to be playable. Because of where this ring is pulling, pretty open over towards where the respawn beacon currently is, where they're looking out of that window. So right now, Asian Banger are in a decent spot, but the problem is they do have Aurora underneath them. Meanwhile, DMG are currently residing in that other building inside of the zone, down towards the south, and it's going to be interesting to see where they end up moving, that's for sure. As Manitos down by Lost at Sea on the west-hand side of the map, they've moved off of God Rock, and are now going to be having to make their way through Lost at Sea.
Manito somehow, some way have found some cover for themselves, but right now they're looking into that armory that is still available. DMG, they are trying to see if there's some place that they could go, and I think they're realizing, nope, where we were is our best shot. We've just got to walk it over there because there is no hard cover for us to play, and the ring is going to force their hand, I think, maybe a little more soon than they would like. DJ in trouble. Will be given a little bit of extra time.
Thankfully, they do have that. Newcastle are going to be able to make that move up. Rampart walls are going down, trying to provide whatever cover they can. A lovely spray onto that Valkyrie inside. But DMG, somehow DJ is getting pulled back onto his feet as Oirain has managed to take down Kenji from the Zesty Besties. And they've actually they're in the zone. This is unbelievable.
How? Script writers, what is going on? How do they survive? The main characters are just still going, lost at sea, falling apart at the helm, and they will go down. Manitos have fallen. We're down to 5 squads. Aurora, DMG, both still up.
At this moment in time, I think 5-star might be in the best position to win this. They might be the only hope for us to go one more game, at least at a bare minimum. They take out Zesty Besties, pretty much their only competition outside of this building. And DMG, Aurora, and Asian Banger all inside. But DMG, they're looking to make a move. Oirain takes down Asian Banger, and Aurora are preoccupied by Asian Banger. DMG are going to get a free move out onto this rock. This is insane.
They're able to set themselves up and, most importantly, separate themselves from the rest of the teams inside that building, so they're not all flying out at the same time. Now they need to be able to get enough pressure on, and that is a lot of pressure on Aurora, who have lost a member, and importantly lost a member inside the zone. Can't even get the revive as the final ring starts to close.
Slab managed to get a knock onto DJ of DMG, but unfortunately turned around to try and help his teammate who'd fallen down to the bottom, and they've now managed to get the full reset. DMG are back onto a full 3 stack as Oirain has made the move down, but lovely shots with the scout right now.
But Aurora can't stay up. They've got to jump down, and they don't have the time to. The ring at their back will be their death, and we're down to 3 squads, and one of them is losing members to DMG.
I cannot believe what I'm witnessing right now. DMG are having an all-star performance right now. They have got the opportunity to go back to back to back. DMG, though, Chaos Fallings has fallen, and it's the Newcastle, the worst possible character to fall. They're trying to stick the revive. Will it happen?
Oh no, they've gone down, and it was 5-star. They got enough damage with the explosives to knock them out, and we're not done yet. 5-star and Asian Bagger, they're fighting for a first place finish, but more than anything, they know that this series is not done yet. Asian Bagger put into a corner, and they're just gonna pull the trigger. 5-star saves the day, saves the game, and saves a first place victory for themselves.
What a performance from 5-star there. I have to say, helped out by Aurora a little bit early on. If it wasn't for Oirain getting the knock with that Kraber onto Brown, it could have been all over for 5-star as they were leaving zone, but they managed to win that fight against Brown. They took out the Zesty Besties, and they have taken the W in game number 3, securing us at least a game number 4.
What a game. I was stressed. I'm watching the games, and I was stressed. I cannot imagine being a team like 5-star in that moment where it's like, oh, we know DMG is still up. One of these teams is them, and we have to just full send and hope we take them out. They get that win. What? God, and everybody, that's the thing, is there was probably so many teams that were just watching this knowing which team is DMG, and as soon as they're out, just an entire lobby is cheering.
It's actually insane. 5-star, 11 kills to their name. Brilliantly done by them. I would absolutely love to see the stats. Hopefully we'll be able to bring that up for you in a second, because it's going to be interesting. Aurora They went down in 4th place there. They did have 9 kills, but were they able to push themselves over into the match point, or are we only going to be having DMG? We're going to have to wait and see what that scoreboard has in store. But 5-star are going to be doing a great job of pushing themselves up into 3rd. Aurora, oh my gosh, if they literally just survived one more team, got a couple more kills, they would have made it onto match point as well. DMG, though, falling, but they are well and truly in this lead right now. 20 points ahead. This is insane by them.
Yeah, I mean, the points don't matter for them at this point. They are far enough ahead that nobody's really kind of getting in their way. That Aurora, yeah, the big thing is Aurora. How many points are Aurora getting? And the fact that Aurora did not get enough points to get on a match point is huge, because DMG have another game where they are the only ones that can end this.
That is going to be huge, and it's going to be back onto Storm Point, I believe, that we're going to be going at. So we're cycling in reverse order now. Storm Point, then World's Edge, then E-District. What we do know already is that DMG know how to win on World's Edge and on E-District, but Aurora do also know how to win on E-District, as having a first, second currently on that map does mean that if DMG aren't able to close it out in this game or the next game, you'd anticipate by that point Aurora will have made it onto the match point threshold, and they will have the opportunity to close it out. So it will be at that point, if we do make it 6 games, how many other teams are going to be up with their 5-star have given themselves a good opportunity. The likes of Brown and Asian Banger, and I don't know, not too far behind. A good game in there. Could see them pushing their way up.
That's the thing, is like we've seen like DMG were able to get 26 points in a game. So any of these teams that are above 25 points, there's the possibility. There is a reasonable chance, if they have a great game, that they can jump up to that spot. Now, 5-star, they don't even need that level of game. They just need a solid game like they had in the previous one. If we take a look at their victory, they had 23 points in that victory. If they even got second place, they're still sitting at like 15 points. That's enough to get them over that threshold. So 5-star can just jump the gun here and get into match point on this next game, assuming DMG aren't the victors.
I do want to note, by the way, I mentioned earlier in terms of the POI draft, 5-star were the first team to pick a Storm Point POI. They picked that lightning rod up in the north-hand side of the map. This was obviously the one that this is the map that they went, you know what, we need to focus on. And it's worked right now. We are seeing the opportunity for them. If they can have another decent game, only 15 points needed, they've got the chance to push themselves onto match point before we head back onto World's Edge.
Yeah, the pressure is on there, I think, for teams. And again, it's kind of like keeping an eye on like where is DMG landing, because we're gonna go back to World's Edge right now, and on World's Edge, DMG are going to be dropping in Monument.
Yeah, right in the middle of the map.
Right in the middle of the map, and there's no Frag East team, so there's no early fight happening on there. If there was a Frag East team, DMG would not be specifically at risk to the Frag East team, but a possible third party would be the thing to keep in mind. But teams around there that we're looking at are Lost at Sea, Enigma, Cybercats, Manitos. These are the teams that could get into fights early on. Cybercats have looked solid. Lost at Sea have had their moments. Enigma have had their moments. There's possibility here, but it is so risky right now.
It certainly is. And one thing that is now going to be playing a massive part of game number 4 is that we have finally had a Newcastle ban. That's going to be huge, because Newcastle has been a massive part of many of these teams' game plans in terms of being able to get those resets, being able to move. I mean, the only reason that one of the reasons why DMG were actually able to survive and push themselves as high as they did in that game is because of the Newcastle, with the wall being able to allow them to move between those two buildings, and then the res happening to the rampart that fell. But with them gone now, they're going to be rocking a very different composition right now. They've opted for the Valkyrie, Rampart, and Horizon.
Yeah. So Horizon is interesting, because Horizon, obviously, like people who've been following Apex for long enough, Horizon has existed in a strong spot for a long time. So this is definitely comfort for this team more than anything. However, she has not been the strongest as of late. She has fallen behind, especially because of the upgrades system. She just does not get the same level of upgrades that other characters do. So she starts to be a little bit less potent in the end game kind of situations. Also, do want to call out, yeah, I was calling out the World's Edge drop points. I forgot we were doing another storm point and then going back the other way. So I apologize for being an idiot. We're gonna see now. We do have DMG is going to be dropping still, I believe, in a somewhat centralized area. They're in the launch pad, so there's a decent bit of distance between them and any other teams that are going to be trying to fight them. But one of those teams that is close by is Zesty Besties coming from Pylon, which has a lot of really good loot that you can maybe do something with.
What's also interesting as well is the fact that there is nobody landing at Devastated Coast. So DMG have actually got 2 POIs. They do have the mean guys who are going to be probably jumping in that car and making their way up to Launchpad, so may get into a little bit of a scuffle with them. Meanwhile, we're going to be having the Zesty Besties, as you can see, making their way up into Jurassic. Hopefully no dinosaurs for them to jump into, and hopefully no enemies either. Unless that's what they're after. I mean, within a composition like this right now, they've got the Maggie and the Fuse, which is insane.
Yeah, the Maggie and the Fuse. We also have G2W running the Gibby of all things. We are busting up this car, by the way. You know what? I do not want to get in a car with anybody on that team. I think if that is the driving skills on display, little concerning.
Yeah, what wasn't ideal right there? I mean, driving upstairs, driving into grenades, just not looking too good. But they are going to make their way away. That was Enigma that they were very close to. Meanwhile, we are going to be seeing 5-star right now, very close to the baby seals up at Zeus Station.
And 5-star kind of playing it slow, just peeking around, seeing what exactly they would like to do if they could get a little bit of an engage here. T2G Titans also in this trench area looking for a fight, and the nades are flying out. They're going to throw out the smoke, throw out the Bangalore ult. There is a lot of utility being used. T2G Titans still not able to find a whole lot, and the Prowlers have come out to play as well, so there's a little bit of extra things to worry about, and that might have been a little bit of a problem for them because they have already lost a member and they are getting full sent.
This is going to be Enigma pushing up onto them. We mentioned that Jurassic had no dinosaurs. We found where they've ended up, and unfortunately, it's right where the T2 Titans are. This time, they are not going to be rocking that Valkyrie that we saw was their end over on World's Edge. Instead, having that Bangalore to be able to throw out some smokes to try and secure some cover. But unfortunately for them right now, they are getting full sent by Enigma, and it's going to be their undoing.
Unfortunate spray from the R9 will mean that they end up going down. Will be our first squad gone. We check back in on 5-star, who are just still in the process of just driving their way up. They're going to get hit by the EMP, but the EMP doesn't really cause them too many problems. They're still able to get Vortex down and continue the fight onwards. Nades flying in don't deter them, and while they do lose a member, they're still in control of this fight, but they are having a little bit of issues finishing it off. 5-star now down in a 1v2 situation, a 1v1 situation where Dark is low HP, and I think they're just going to have to disengage. 5-star wanted this fight so bad, and it is not working out for them.
The baby Steels trying to show that they can fight up against a team that knows how to win. The winners of your game 2, the saviors of this tournament, some might even say, are going down now. And unfortunately, it's just down to Dark, who's losing health as they stick this out in the zone. Even the Trident right now is suffering.
And they're just continuing to fight it. They're continuing the 1v1 to see if they could do anything. I think the stick is going to hit, and that is going to be a full kill. 5-star win the fight, but at a pretty heavy cost, because not only have they lost all of their members, but they have to spend time getting the revives inside the ring while it is pulling very heavily down to their southwest.
A tough position here for 5-star. The only benefit is that they aren't too far from zone, but they are going to be having Aurora coming up on up behind them. That is going to be tough for 5-star to deal with. Not a team that you want to fight against.
Yeah, Aurora, looking around, they do have to be a little careful here. Do not drive off the edge. There's a couple of disqualifiers for anybody that I would let drive me. One of them is driving over grenades. That is definitely not a great one. Driving off of a cliff is another disqualifier here, as 5-star cannot get themselves away. Aurora have proven themselves to pass the driving test and take out 5-star.
1 kill to Aurora's hand. That is 1 kill closer to match point. Only 4 points off for them now. So they're only really needing a few more placement points and maybe 1 more kill, and they will be there. Meanwhile, we are going to be jumping on board with Asian Banger, currently sat in 5th place. Obviously came out 2nd in the last game and were the ones that actually ended up taking down our lobby leaders of DMG alongside 5-star. So Asian Banger in a okay position right now, just to the sort of southwest of Command Center and northeast of Cascade. This is me practicing my compass, if you can recognize that.
Asian Bagger, honestly, it does not seem like they want to move at any point soon, and honestly makes a lot of sense. They have crypto to get them a little bit of info. They're pigging out people to see exactly what the situation near them is, what they can do with that information. Aurora, after their victory inside of the ring, are going to make their way over, and this is going to take us over to a wall ring here. This is a possible ring that can pull back down into that open area below wall to the south of it. But I mostly say that because if it's a wall ring, it generally ends up, if it keeps pulling wall, it will have the entirety of the wall area inside of it. And this one only has half of it.
I do want to note, by the way, that DMG have made an insane rotate up to Zoo Station and are going to be hitting the ring console. So they're going to know exactly where this is pulling. Aurora, meanwhile, have tried to do a little bit of a Wraith portal into the building, and it's not quite worked out for now. So dipping back into that portal as we see, dipping back and going down, unfortunately. It's going to be February, taking down Oirain.
Oirain and Slab not looking too healthy either. Will fall next, and we have just one member of Aurora remaining, and they have not gotten enough points just yet. It is not the place that Aurora want to be. This is a genuinely worst case scenario for this game for them.
I mean, that is going to be January, February, March, saying to Aurora, this is Browntown. The wall is our territory. Aurora trying to now having to get it out as a solo, as DMG have had a player knocked. It is going to be Chaos Feelings, who's going to be getting stuck right now by future streams. Hopefully for them,
they don't
have
a
be able
support.
To make the way in. They don't have a support, so they're not going to get any of that lovely little passive healing. So a tough one here for DMG, walking through the zone, and they've still got 45 seconds until this ring closes.
That is tough for them without that support to get themselves healthy going into the ring. They do have to go a lot slower, which means they use a lot more resources just getting in. But in the meantime, Enigma already in the middle of a fight, as we can hear some of those explosions happening around. Enigma gonna look for that fight, and Manitos, Aurora have gone down. So Aurora out, and I don't think they got enough points.
I don't think so either. 1 placement point, 1 kill, I believe. That is not going to be enough. They're going to fall on 47 points even. So tough for them. It's DMG full. Oh my God.
Oh,
I said this was Browntown, and that is playing absolutely true. Brown taking down the match point team. We go one more game.
Okay, we are not done yet. DMG going out this early, and I think, honestly, you can immediately see the relief as some teams are just full sending it right now, saying this is our time to score some points. Cybercats are one of those teams. They've got the kill leader on their team, and they are just full sending back and forth. They have lost a member now. They need to look for a flank to get themselves back into this fight.
They need this as well. They need this bad. The Cybercats are currently sat so down in the lobby, and they are falling early again in 10th position. Asian Banger are the ones to take them out. That's great for Asian Banger, though. In 5th position, more points for them, allowing them to push themselves up, particularly with DMG and Aurora falling early.
That is unfortunate for Cybercats because I think they immediately saw their opportunity and a little bit too hasty is really what ended up happening here. Seeds down below where this ring is continuing to pull. They do have not the worst rotate to move up. However, being right on the edge of it does put them in an awkward spot because you can see so many teams just looking down from above with those rampart shields up makes it really difficult to push.
The one benefit they are going to have is they do have the Valkyrie, so there's potential that they might be able to just Hail Mary it if they really needed to. They are, though, still just about in the zone, and they are going to Hail Mary it right now. That's exactly what we see. Taken to the sky.
Yeah, I think they realized this is not a great idea, guys. All right, there we got nothing. We got nothing at all.
They're like, you know what? We'll plant our seeds right here. Let's make a home for ourselves.
Credit where it is due. That is information. That is very important information for them to have to know where they can try and rotate and where they might want to look to move in terms of just trying to take a fight. So I don't, even though they didn't go anywhere, it is still genuinely a helpful ult to use.
Definitely. So, and one of those teams they did see was going to be No Name, who were pushing up the hill in that Trident, and now going to be going up in a big fight right now. I believe against Asian Banger. Yes, it is indeed. Asian Banger taking them down. A massive fight outside of Command. And it has gone the way of Asian Banger.
Asian Banger able to stay up. Seeds getting sent on here as they're the ones doing the sending. So they have moved into the building just a little bit to their north. They've lost a couple of members. It is just up to Vod, who is fighting for his life, but I don't think has a good way out of this one. Seeds will fall down, but not before IDK do as well. We are down to 6 squads remaining.
6 squads remaining as Asian Banger also do fall. Tough there for Asian Banger, who had a good game inside of the command center area as Gooning for Wig, and now going to be facing a Gibraltar ult.
Gibraltar ult, Brown. Gonna take a lot of damage from that one. Bangalore as well as Enigma have fallen. 4 squads remaining. Brown still trying to look to get their revive off as they are within this fuse ult. Gonna use the EMP just for a little bit of extra time. But meanwhile, the rest of the months have gone down. The days have gone by. And Brown will be saying goodbye. 1-for-1 trade. But that's not a good trade when you got one person left on your team.
That is tough. Brown have been having such a good game of it over here at the wall. But unfortunately, they get taken down, and they were in 4th place going into this. We mentioned that, you know, if you're on that 25-point mark, you've got the opportunity if you have a good game. They were on 23 points going into this, and if they were able to clean up that fight and win the match, that might well have put themselves onto match point. For now, they're probably going to be sitting themselves up into the sort of high 30s, maybe even pushing themselves into the 40s as well, as Gooning for Wig sat in 10th going into this game. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, you were questioning their driving, but right now, they are driving themselves up this leaderboard.
There's a little bit of a different skill being used in terms of getting up the leaderboard versus getting from place to place. That is a slightly different set of skills. So I stand by my point personally. Zesty Besties, though, they might need to stand by some walls because they are taking some shots at the moment. They are pushing forward to try and take this fight with G2W, and they are going to put a little bit of damage down with the Maggie drill as well. This is a lot of poke, and Zesty Besties moving in with full HP. They can't get in, and that is a really good Maggie ball to stun Zesty Besties in the ring and take a lot of free damage.
Right now, I do have to say, Fully Talked are coming in from the other side. We've got all 3 squads in this area. The winner is surely to be decided very shortly, as it's going to be Zesty Besties up against Fully Talked. But they are getting taken down right now. The car is not enough, but Gooning for Wig do get taken down eventually, and Fully Talked come in for the win.
They are fully ready to get this victory, and they will do so. Grab the win, 3rd party for the victory, and Fully Torqued, a very much needed win for that team.
Brilliantly done there by Fully Talked. They recognized that 3rd party was upon them. They just needed to play their time, Bryce, and that's exactly what they did. I called it out at the beginning of our Storm Point games. Will Fully Talked continue with this aggressive composition, or will they try to change it up? They've stuck with it, and that has absolutely worked. Brilliantly done there by Fully Talked, our winners of game number 4, continuing this match point finals for us.
Yeah, I mean, the story of the game, yeah, fully torqued win. Unfortunately, that is overshadowed by the story of DMG falling so early. And I pointed it out at the time, but I do think it was just very notable, was just how much of a shift the game took immediately, just in play style. Immediately, teams went from playing very, very safe to like, we are just going to send it and we are going to kill race our way to the top.
I mean, I think I just looking through at the moment, I'm just looking at the spread of kills, and pretty much everybody has sort of got themselves in, at least those people inside of the top 10 got themselves 7, 5, 4, 8, 4, 8. There was just so much of a spread of kills because they saw DMG and Aurora fall and went, this is our chance. Let's see what we can do. And I think that was pretty much shown completely by what we saw in that end zone there. The fact that there was 3 teams outside of the zone at like round 4 or 5 closing shows how much of the sort of pedal was put to the floor.
Absolutely here, but we do hope you all are enjoying the content here at Cracked Media. Reminder that none of this would be possible without the dedication of every individual involved with CCA and Cracked Media, so please be sure to give them some love in the Discord. If you've missed out on any of the action, we will have the VODs ready for you on the Cracked Media YouTube, located in the panels down below. While you're there, check out some of the merch and affiliate deals, which helps make these events possible. If you need some bi-weekly T1 esports content, be sure to check out the Loading Screen YouTube with uploads every other Tuesday. If you're looking for gaming industry news, check out XP Share live every other Sunday at 6 p.m. EST right here on this Twitch channel. Find these and more related content on the Cracked Media Discord. With that, we are going to take a quick break, everybody. We will be right back with game number 5, which we didn't even know we were going to get for a little bit, but we will be back with it just after this. And welcome back, everybody. We are back for game number 5. Finally getting into the thick of it as we are just I think the stress is finally starting to hit for some of these teams. The pandemonium broke loose when DMG went down, and I assume that will continue to happen until we get more teams on match point.
I would not be surprised. I think it'll be great to see the standings once again as we do make our way back over onto World's Edge. Obviously, we already know that DMG are currently sitting at the top of those standings, but where else are everybody else on them? We will bring up that leaderboard for you so that we can have a little look. But at the moment, as we said, DMG sitting at the height, Aurora coming in second. They failed to make it onto match point in that last game. So for them now, they're going to need 3 points, which is, it should be a easy ask, but they only got 2 last game.
Yeah, we'll have to see here once we do get our scoreboard up. I am curious what is going to occur, because yeah, we have Aurora on 47 5-star. We're not able to get enough points. Did not get very many points at all in that last one. A lot of our points went to teams that were much further down on the leaderboard. And so our top spots have not really shifted that much. It's just that there's been more people in the running. And again, DMG still the lone team within range of that match point. So they have another game where they are the only team that can finish this.
What's pretty insane to see, though, is because of that last game of DNG and Aurora falling, we've had a real shift in those teams just beneath. And we're now starting to get more and more onto that 30-point mark. Now we've got 4 teams who are in that chasing pack, trying to catch up with those top 2. And is World's Edge going to be the map that will see that happen? We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Here's we are going to be should be taking ourselves back over to World's Edge at this point. And I think that does then just bring up the question of like, okay, we've got Aurora who are getting trial. They are getting trials in World's Edge, which is beautiful spot for them to land. You would expect them to be able to get some points here. If nothing else, they just need to clear one team. If they win 1-3v3, Aurora are on match point for the next game. And the rest of this game theoretically does not matter that much. Meanwhile, look at DMG over at Monument, which we brought up on the last map because I can't understand how a snake draft works. They're going to be kind of in the middle of everybody, but nobody directly nearby.
Down here, though, as we do see the map, we are going to be pulling towards the south. Obviously, we had that nice little survey camp epicenter ending in the last match. That's not going to be happening here. And I think that right now we've been blessed by the ring gods, getting such a great variety in our maps here this evening. I thought, we get to see really anything pull anywhere near each other on any map that we've had, which is rather lovely to see. As we're on board with the Cyber Cats, they're going to be over here at the Harvester, and they're going to be approaching Mean Guys, who landed at Lava Siphon pretty soon, I imagine.
You would imagine. And Zesty Bestie's going to get in the thick of it right away. Fissure looking like it is going to have a little bit of our first action. Zesty Bestie's looking down at what is probably going to be T2G Titans. Because they are the ones making the move into this area.
You also do have No Name, however, who I believe landed over at Countdown. So 3 teams potentially here in this engagement over at Lava Fissure, with obviously the different varied elevations between the different gangways. It's not always the easiest place to fight because of the different angles you can get shot from. And I'm Hornet has been taken down by a member of the No Name team.
Yeah, and Zesty Bestie's kind of, we are hitting some good Sentinel shots. Unfortunately, that does not matter when 2 of your teammates are gone. Baby Seal is our first team to be knocked out, but Zesty Bestie's trying desperately to not be the second.
Unfortunately, for Zesty Bestie, taken down to just 1. No Name, meanwhile, do have Gyozi taken down, who instantly gets knocked again, and that's T2G, who've managed to take them down. Chicks stealing their way out of there with the buffs to Octane. Thankfully for them, they are going to get away, and a good Skynade coming out is going to be able to put the pressure back onto T2G, as we are seeing an EMP also coming out as well.
No Name hitting some really beautiful shots on the Scout, and that is No Name on No Name who is hitting those. And we are seeing the Mirage come out, of all things, and has to make some kind of big plays here, maybe looking for just the KP. Is the rest of the team going to be climbing up? R99 hits, but not hard enough. No Name will fall, and T2G Titans hold their ground, and they have a lifeline on their team.
You know what? At this point, they are in 19th position with only 4
Screw
points.
it, right? Like,
absolutely. Let's just go try something different. I am not too mad about that for T2G. And you know what? My friend that I play ranked with, she is an absolute lifeline crutch. It's the only legend that she plays. And so for me, it's a wholesome moment when we can see them getting played in the competitive space. Meanwhile, we are going to be having Manitos up in an engagement right now. Who is it that they're up against? It's surely going to be Aurora if it's going to be up in Skyhook.
You would think Aurora. Actually, no. This is not in Skyhook. This is down in the launch slate, or sorry, Stacks area. Or sorry, no, I am stupid. I cannot look at the map. Wow, I am just having a day and a half here. Manitos, yeah, probably fighting Aurora here, and with the help of the Seer, gonna try and get themselves involved. And they are seeing Aurora, and Aurora, no, you cannot go down this early. You've got to get these kills. Manitos have lost 1, trying to get into the fight on another. Lots of damage being done. Aurora, they're gonna die to the ring. No,
oh
Aurora!
Aurora. Oh my gosh. I said that 3 points shouldn't be that difficult. Turns out that it's nigh on impossible. What
time
is
and
happening?
time again, you are ruining their games.
Oh my my gosh, I
Ben,
am
we
so
cannot
sorry.
keep doing this. You are impacting the sanctity of the match.
As an EMEA fanboy as well, this hurts even
Yeah.
more.
Could not be doing this to your own kind.
I am so sorry, Aurora. Don't come for me. I'm rooting for you. You'll be back next game when you get back onto your beloved E district. You know,
I expect a full apology on Twitter, and you know, just understanding that what your actions have caused. We have our ring likely going to be taking us down into the southeastern side. As you can see, a lot of these teams have already made that call. Expecting a stacks zone is what we are seeing. Stacks big mod area seems to be the consensus. Lost at sea may not have time to get to that consensus, as there is a team already hitting them hard.
Lost at sea trying to stabilize. They are down in the stacks area, so they are going to be putting those rampart shields up, trying to put themselves in a decent position for the end zone. So we are seeing Voodoo getting taken down by Limerence in the kill feed, as is Slowikin as well. So Limerence having a little bit of a field day with those kills. We're also seeing DMG in their first fight as well. And that's going to be against IDK over towards the Live Siphon. But DMG have actually just lost DJ as well. This is insane. Are we actually going to have a repeat of the previous game with DMG falling just down to Chaos Feelings up against I don't know? I don't know what's going to happen here.
DMG need to pull something crazy off. The 30-30 has to be able to hit with the hip shots. Not going to do it with the hip fire. Takes out one of the drones, but that's not a kill on a player. And DMG have fallen again. We are not ending on this game either.
DMG taken down. I don't know how, but it is I don't know who took them out.
We're getting into the Abbott and Costello bits now. Is that where we're going with this?
I think it might be, yeah. It's getting late for me over here.
Getting the loopy Brit here is Brown gonna be moving their way into the ring on the southern side, into the big mod area.
But they're a team here that are going to be licking their lips at the thought of DMG and Aurora going out, because they are currently sat in fourth position with 36 points, 37 now with the placement point that they've just earned. So a win and one kill. I mean, I know just a win, I'm saying, but getting themselves up and some good placement points, a couple kills, they might actually be able to put themselves as the next point on to match point. We'll have to wait and see, because they also have got 5-star inside of the zone as well, who are the team just above them, who also have got the opportunity to put themselves onto match point. Meanwhile, though, Brown obviously making their way slightly down towards the Lava Siphon Geyser sort of canyon between the two. And they're going to be actually coming up potentially onto the Slayers of DMG, which is, I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, and I think this ring, just based on everything I'm seeing, I think this ring is going to take us into just the area between Stacks and Dome, which is a very hectic area to try and fight, and that can be a little ugly for teams, especially considering we don't have the Newcastle. If you're not running the Rampart, you don't have any buildable kind of cover. A lot of teams inside those buildings will have to move, as we see Brown currently shooting some people outside of buildings and getting some KP for it.
March there, some lovely shots with the Scout taking down Wizard, and that's IDK who are getting taken out. DMG will be at least happy that they're getting avenged, but they won't be very happy if Brown end up taking them out and taking the next match point slot. Currently, it is the curse of the match point. If you get on there first, you do struggle, and we are seeing that right now as Brown trying to go up against a IDK with a Cryptos, the EMP coming off defensively, trying to hold off this push. Some good shots coming in from afar, breaking the rampart on the Wraith, as you can see on the little feed on the left, as Zilach has been taken down by January. But January gets taken down as well. This is a 2v2 now that we're seeing.
2v2, IDK playing the knockdown shit. They're just burning through those knockdown shields to get inside, and they want to hit the res while they still have the opportunity to. They are taking down the other downed member to just take information off the board. March will be gone. IDK able to reset inside of this building, but this is not where that ring is going to keep pulling. So they have to keep themselves aware of what they have to do, because they are going to have to go through either a choke point or touch through the ring on that southern side.
Right now, they're looking for the final player. It's going to be the Crypto. That's going to be January. We saw February fall. We saw March fall. It's all down to the
We're already past January.
We're already past it. It's the only hope right now is we've got to go back in time to try and recover this game for Brown.
Brown tried to live in the past. Unfortunately, the past will not save them, and Brown will be eliminated.
IDK reaping the rewards of that. They were sat in 10th position before this fight. They have now taken down 1st and 4th. So they're going to be pushing themselves up, starting with 24 going into this game. They have got the opportunity to get themselves up, but they have got a tough rotation. As you mentioned, this is going to be continuing to pull over into the stacks area where there are a hell of a lot of teams. You could almost say that it is currently stacked full of teams.
That one's too easy. We can't go with that one.
No,
we gotta be a little more clever here. Yeah,
Jenga? Jenga?
Jenga's good. Yeah. The blocks
see
will
them
fall, just like
that's good.
Yeah. Okay, we're improving. We're improving. VLF need a little bit of an improvement themselves because they are getting shot at on this rotate over because it is into the wide open. This ring is also starting to close, which is going to cut off that route. So they need to make a choice, and they need to make it fast.
They do indeed. Fully talked to the team that are currently shooting at them from the dome. They've also got Cybercats inside of the tunnel as well. Zesty Besties, meanwhile, are going to be looking at IDK as well as Enigma as well. So two teams that you wouldn't really want to fight up against because Enigma have been fighting well and IDK have been fighting very well in this game. But they have Wraith Portal themselves down into the canyon, putting out some Maggie drills right now to try and put some damage down onto the IDK inside of that building. And right now are going to be stabilizing, but it's this next rotate that's going to be super important for them.
Absolutely. Zesty Besties looking to try and fight this one out. They want to take this team out early enough that they can make a rotate through this choke point slow. If they have to take it fast, they will be in a rough spot come ring pull.
As the Cybercats inside of the tunnel are going to be falling, and it's going to be fully talked who've pushed up, but some good shots right there from the team to push Lunix back, and an aggressive swing coming out from the Cybercats. It's Elonzi who comes round the corner with that alternator, but unfortunately falls to the scouts of KJ the Pro. Fully talked with the Maggie, going to be putting down the fire and the flames to try and suppress the push from the Cybercats, but it's going to continue to come, and down the cats fall. Fully talked, hitting those reses as quickly as they can, but they have got to watch out because VLF and IDK are in the area.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think those shots being heard will likely force more teams into the area. They're going to pull out the portal to try and do something, but they don't have much time before teams are going to take that portal and follow it through to try and get more KP. Fully Torqued been able to give a little bit of extra time. EMP comes in to ruin that for them, and BLF now taking their chance to move forward and third party this.
VLF. We mentioned earlier that they were in a little bit of a rough spot, but taking down the Cybercats right now. Cybercats, not Cybercats, even, sorry, Fully Talked even. Cybercats were slain by Fully Talked, as VLF now are going to be making that rotate up. I think what we've seen already here in this game is how important a Wraith can be. They can get you out of trouble, and they can also rotate you beautifully, and that's exactly what VLF's Bullet has managed to do right here.
Ooh. This is great use of an evac tower to get over this wall and try and find a spot. Now, granted, they don't know who is where here, so they are panicking trying to find a spot. And it seems like they've been able to at least get one person inside, but they have lost their octane in the process. Enigma are safe for now, but how do they get themselves back to full on their players?
I mean, that is the tough thing. An evac tower can be great, but if you don't have the Valkyrie in your roster, you're not able to see through walls. You're not going to be able to have those wall hacks, and you're not going to know where you're landing. And that's unfortunately what happened there. Keepstar taken down. We're down to our finals, 8 squads remaining here over at Stacks. And the ring pool, as you can see from the minimap at the top left, is going to be making its way slightly more towards the cracked eggshell, but not completely into the eggshell. So there's going to be a lot of open space here, and I do think there is going to be a bit of a bloodbath potentially for those a few teams that have got to try and make their way in, because at this moment in time, IDK and Gooning to Wig have managed to put themselves in the one building in zone.
Yeah, this one does get a little ugly. Now, granted, I want to point out Seeds on the outskirts of this as well. They are in that dome section on the northern side. This is a spot that is not bad to hold because nobody's going to be trying to push that into the open. It's all these teams fighting inside of the building, like Asian Banger, who are taking a lot of damage, and they're going for the chase. They want to finish this team off. Enigma have been taken out, but at the cost of 2 members on that team. Asian Banger just have 1 remaining, and there are more players coming to Thirst. Fully Torqued are also a single member, and this is so ugly for so many teams.
Fully Torqued right now as a solo. The Wraith is doing so much as via left fall as well. This is insane because basically Asian Banger, Fully Torqued, and Enigma were the sort of those teams that were sat outside alongside 5-star as well, who was sitting outside of the next ring. I said there might be a bit of a bloodbath, and it's exactly what has happened. Fully Torqued trying to do what they can, but no ammo in the R99 means that they do have to swap over to the Wingman. What can Lunix do with the Wingman? I hope something special.
They're going to get spotted by the downed member, going to go back up to the top, and there is not an easy way moving forward. You cannot go through that wall, buddy. It is not a window you can just port yourself through. You are not an altar, and that ring is going to hurt. I don't think there's a way out of this. No. Oh, no. My God. The ring is still in up there, and they're just actually going to go, wow. Oh, my goodness, golly gracious. How in the world did Lunix find that one? No! No, he's dead.
Oh my God, he's dead. He's gone. He did so well. That might have been one of my favorite plays that I've seen here of it. And unfortunately, just caught out by a Sheila blowing through that door. Unfortunate end there for Fully Torqued in what was a properly intensely good effort. Though at this moment in time, we are going to be seeing Seeds sat inside of this cracked eggshell behind some rampart walls. And all I have to say is, with this ring being what it is, it's a shame that we don't have any bloodhounds in this lobby for a replication of that.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me.
That iconic respawn moment with Snipe Down coming back in.
Don't start with me on the bloodhounds. Oh my goodness. Seeds with the crypto has the EMP ready to go. And they are peeking in on some teams running out of the ring. They know some damage has already been done, and they are forcing the issue. 4 squads remain. Seeds with heavy control of this ring. All of these other teams inside of the building, and 2 squads. Honestly, they are going to have to pull a trigger here at some point, and that trigger is going to be the EMP, which does so much. Gooning to Wig actually fall as the EMP goes off, and Seeds will be looking for another play.
And it's going to be up against 5-star, who take down IDK. They're going to try and stick the res right now. The Fuse ult coming in to try and stop the push happening. But 5-star have got the opportunity right now. This might well be enough just from placement and kills alone to push themselves into match point. But if they can get the win here, it's not going to happen. Seeds do end up taking that away from them. And we have got a new champion here this evening, and it is going to be the Seeds.
Very desperately needed too, because I think just going back a couple of games, Seeds went 17th. Seeds went when did they go out in game number 2? They were out at 5th. Yeah, Seeds have had a rough day relatively. So this game, able to get themselves a very strong finish in that first place will get them up there. But again, it's a team that was not up near the top that is gaining a lot of points, meaning still very few teams that are close to that match point. One of those teams being 5-star, who have just crept their way over the match point threshold.
We have got our second team. I was a little bit worried for 5-star there going into second place. They only had
Oh,
4 kills to their name, but thankfully the second place and 4 kills was just enough. We have got 2 points on 2 teams on match point. Going back onto E District, which is Aurora's favorite map, and they're still not there. I believe in you, Aurora. But what would be great is if we could get the leaderboard. We'll try and get the leaderboard up for you in just a second, just so that we can show you, because there has been some shakeups as we're looking at this. But in that last game, we did have uh, IDK getting third place with 8 kills, and that was pretty huge for them. That's pushed them now up into 7th position, 11 points off. Seeds getting that win has pushed them into 6th place, just 10 points off. And then Asian Banger and Fully Talked also within in the single digits territory. I thought after 2 games that this was going to be over in 3 or 4, and we've now got the opportunity to potentially getting a lot of teams onto match point here, Tess.
we have 4 teams within 10 points, 5 teams within 11. That is very, very doable. And I think the scary thing about that is Aurora has been on the bubble for 3 games now, and they have just not been able to get above that. They've been on the wrong side of the bubble. The bubble has popped. They have made new bubbles. Those bubbles have popped. Aurora are having a tragedy occur in their games today.
I also want to look at just how many different legends they've played. I think it might well be the most. Like that variation right there from Aurora is kind of insane. But as we go into this next game, who is going to be that legend band? And it is going to be the legend that I mentioned was being so powerful. The one that we saw an incredible play come out of Fully Talked. It's going to be Wraith getting eliminated.
It is going to be Wraith, so more rotational tools taken off the board. Probably going to see a decent bit of Valk. A lot of those teams that were running the Wraith might try and go for the Valk next. I also, interesting fact, just in terms of what I am seeing in the leaderboard that is not shown on this leaderboard specifically, average placement. Usually, there's a couple of teams that are in that like average placement is like 3rd. They do really well overall, and average placement is just kind of like really you see a couple of teams up near the top of that. Our first place team has an average placement of 6.6. That is very low. Our third place team in Aurora has an average placement of 9th, and it stays around that 8 to 9 range, going all the way down to 13th place in Lost at Sea. So that really does go to show you just how varied these games have been, just how inconsistent these teams have been, specifically in placement.
Well, if you're wanting a good placement, Aurora might well be getting that right now, just based purely on where this ring is going to be pulling. Obviously, they are landing over in that far west-hand side in Blossom Drive. And there is a possibility that it pushes over to them. I'm going to hand it over to you as to where you think this is gonna be pulling.
I mean, you picked the one map that I just don't know as well. You just want to make me look bad. I would probably say gonna go down to that southwestern area. It's just gut feeling. Baby Seals, though, they don't have time to think about gut feelings. They're in the middle of a fight, and unfortunately, that alternator is going to get only one knock before they go down. That is T2G getting first blood.
T2G needed that. They are currently sat in 17th place with 8 points on the board. Those 3 kills will push them up slightly, as we are now going to be seeing No Name getting into an engagement as well. Early off the bat right now, teams are realizing that they need to get some points, and they are getting aggressive. I'm surprised to see it happen this soon, but when you need points, you need points.
I think everyone's realized that the matches are all over the place, right? Like there has not been consistency, despite the fact that we have some teams we really expected to see just kind of dominate, and we have seen some level of domination between them. DMG, Aurora have had really solid starts to the day, but there has been a fall off. And that's going to not just bolster some chaos going on in the games, but it's going to bolster some teams' confidence in being able to take these fights and saying, you know what, if these teams are struggling in this lobby, that means we have a chance. So let's take these fights, let's play a little bit more aggressive, and let's see what we can get done, because that big game might be just around the corner.
Right now, though, we are seeing the Dilducks getting taken down by Cybercats. Currently, the cat is taking down the bird. Well, will it be the finish that we see? Well, at the moment, T2G Titans are the ones more in trouble, and they are getting taken down by Wraith. Rough there for T2G, as Den Pride is also being taken out. Manatos down to 2, and a lot of damage here being done by Seeds.
Seeds have been on a roll lately, and it seems like they are going to continue that momentum going. EMP going to pop onto Fully Torqued, who have lost their shields. Fully Torqued in a bit of pain, and we'll see if Kates can try and pull off an upset victory here. Does not seem likely. Going to try and get the KP peeking through that construction vehicle, but I don't think there's enough time here. We'll get a little bit of a scan, get a little bit of extra info. Does get a knock onto 1, and this might be the opportunity. It's turned into a 1-for-1 or a 1v1 situation. The nades, though, forcing Kates to back away for the shield bat. Can Kates get up and fight? Does not seem like that will be the call.
VLF, this team that they are up against, this is an extended fight as the Dilducks do indeed go down to the Cybercats, and the Zesty Besties also getting in the action as well. The Rez is managing to be stick, and it is the Maggie, which is a great legend to get that stick onto, because you're now going to be able to put those drills through those rampart walls to keep this fight potentially in your favor. But an incredible Skynade there coming out of VLF.
And they might just seal their doom. Do get the re-knock here and now, just trying to fight 1v1 once again. Can Fully Torqued survive? This fight has gone on for so much longer than it had to. The drone tracking where Kates wants to be. Can Fully Torqued make this work? Now, there's information here about the health info. Now sees the peek around. The nades forcing the fight. Kates has survived for so long. And can they fight it out? I don't think so. How in the world has Fully Torqued survived this long?
I mean, this has been brilliantly done right here by VLF. The throwing out of the nade to stop the res from happening is now allowed them to get the res, but in zone, they've taken so much damage, and Cade's actually popping that med kit. Might be the thing that saves them, but the Maggie drill from the res player takes him down. VLF actually doing so well to stick that res, even though he instantly went down, allowed him to throw that drill out, and actually is the thing that takes down Fully Torqued. VLF, your champions of Humbert Labs.
Unironically, that drill was a game changer. That is insane. I have never seen a more impactful revive into drill ever. Brown, now the team we're taking a look at, another team that has been higher on the scoreboard, but they have struggled. There is some kind of curse going on. If you get close to match point, the Apex gods will disfavor you for a good long while, apparently, here. So IDK, the team also close by, as we see Lost at Sea go down in the kill feed. There's 12 squads left? What happened? Huh?
This is unbelievable. Our first game on E-District was one of the most intense games I've seen, with about 12 squads left as the final ring was closing. And now there's only 12 squads remaining, as round 2 hasn't even started closing.
As round 2 just begins. We just got round 1 closed, and we are at 12 squads. The shift in tone on these games has been dramatic.
I mean, this feels like game 6 of the group stages, where people just need points, which is unbelievable considering we've got 2 teams on match point right now, as IDK are getting pushed up, and it's going to be Brown pushing up. March Fools. This is March Madness, as IDK are getting taken down. This is utter craziness. As 5-star,
and 5-star
team, third party right now from the match point team.
5-star. And this is exactly what 5-star wants. This is what DMG and 5-star want. They want everybody else to be eaten alive. and now 5-star just taking the slim pickings off on the sides. Easy for them. IDK get eliminated, and we are at 11 squads. This is a pubs match.
I feel like I've had better quality in a ranked game before, which is saying something considering the state of Apex ranked. But what is happening right now? 5-star in a decent position, very close to the zone as well, because this is going to be sort of in that that west hand side between sort of Street Market and Neon Square, over towards the west hand side of this ring, where currently you have got DMG, 5-star, Aurora, and Enigma are all going to be locating themselves in there. Everybody else is on the edge of the ring and fighting. I don't know what's happening. It's wild.
One of these teams is not like the others. Enigma, the odd ones out here, as Aurora. Well, they're not on match point. They are 2 points away from match point. Actually, they might have gotten it off placement points here. So it is very possible that they could have gotten enough to get on match point for our next match, but they need that match to happen in order for that to be relevant. And right now, we are watching the flies fall bit by bit as we are just everybody's going down. And what this does mean, though, at least for rotational standpoints, is rotates become a lot easier for the teams that are still alive.
What I do have to say, by the way, is you mentioned there that Aurora, they might get there on placement point. Well, they've actually got 1 kill. I've just a little look. They are now on match point. But for those of you who maybe haven't watched match point before, you have to get to match point and then win the next game. So they can't actually close this one out right now, even though they are now above the 50-point threshold. So for Aurora, they've done what they need to do. Now they've just got to make sure that we do go 1 more game.
Exactly. DMG, you know what? Yeah, just hit it on him. Yeah. Style on him. Tell him about it.
Dude,
and this is just what DMG are going to be doing. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. There's not going to be a whole lot of action. DMG are just chilling and just waiting to see who else gets picked off. If there's maybe an opportunity, they might just pull the Ashport and go for something. Nice dodge on the Seer Q, by the way.
By the way, that's Aurora that they're looking at the moment. Just as an FYI. Yeah,
of course.
Just for those of you who are wondering who they're dancing on, literally, that is going to be Aurora. And right now, we do have Asian Banger who are inside a Street Market and have, I believe, picked up a mythic bin. I'm going to be very interested to see what weapons they've managed
P20s.
to pull. P20s. You know what? We take a P20. We take a P20.
Well, we take 2 P20s.
Yeah, you know what? John
we don't take just one.
Well, with the oh my gosh, as well as infinite ammo as well, you definitely take 2 P20s.
Yeah. I was gonna say, make sure you get your words in order. It's only your job. Zesty Besties need to get their health in order because that is also their job, and was not in the greatest of positions here as the Mad Maggie drills start to rain in. There is a lot of HP gone onto Rivera, who falls, and they get that full kill. Asian Baggers now looking in for the full finish.
This is big here for Asian Banger. They are one of those teams currently sat close to that threshold, and with 2 kills there, they and the placement point, that's now putting them onto 44 points. They're not that far off either. But again, they need it to go 1 more game.
There is a lot of teams that are going like, wow, this will be great for us if we don't have a match point team win.
They've got a Kraber.
Unfortunately, wow, okay. You know what? Just give them full red weapons. Like, screw it at this point. I really wanted to see that.
You've got unlimited ammo. You've got unlimited ammo.
I think there's a part of them not wanting to give the info that a Kraber is in play as well. So that somebody has a Kraber on hand. So I do understand that, but also you have a limited ammo. That is a good point.
Well, that is going to be Brown that they are going to be looking at. One of those other teams who were wanting to get themselves on, but they have taken a lot of damage. February has fallen, the shortest month of the year, closing out earliest. And unfortunately, it's going to be closely followed by both January and March. Brown out, and they're not going to be hitting match point as VLF have been hit by that Kraber of Asian Amo.
And does seem like the patience has paid off. Don't we look dumb?
This is why we cast and not play.
I mean, no, I mean, like, I say that, but unironically, like, you see that it was a headshot there, or I do believe there was the fact that a Kraber was not known to be in play does impact things, as now these nades are just blowing up the defenses of BLF. I don't think they're gonna have a good way out. DMG in the middle of a fight right now. Future Stream's taking a lot of damage, will be able to stay up, but BLF do go down. 8 squads remaining. We have a lot of space to play with here.
We went at the beginning of this game from 10% of the lobby on match point. We are now down to 25% of the lobby on match point. That shows the change in this as a Mirage is going down the hill. I believe it is. And oh my gosh, down they full Asian bangers are taking down this team. The Kraber is still in the hands. Going to look to swing around that corner, but the Maggie drill brilliantly done by the team on the defensive to make sure that they aren't swung. Maybe can get that reset. We'll have to wait and see, as they're going to be continuing to push up right now. I believe it's Enigma that are ahead of them, and it's OZ Rain who has fallen.
Rain needs to get pulled back up, waiting for the shield bat. Now going to go for the revive here. Thankfully, the catalyst wall, while initially blocking the Kraber, will keep them from losing another member. So Asian Bagger continuing to move forward. No Name making their rotate in on an evac tower. Will just jump in, and unfortunately did not know there was a team fully set up in here, and that's not a fight that they wanted to take. I don't think No Name have very long to go, and they will fall. 7 squads remain.
The Zesty Besties taking them down. They don't want no more friends. They want to have this space, and they are going to be... I mean, they've already got enough friends, you know, that we don't need any more, is what they've said.
Asian Bagger, honestly, a team that looks to be really, really strong at the moment. Seeds, a little bit less so, but in solid position. They do need to drop from this position here, and I think this crypto drone is going to be very crucial in them getting the information they need to know where they are safe to do so. 5-star, one of our match point teams, 6 squads remaining, and we still have both our match point teams in play.
5-star, currently on the most westernly side of this map. They've moved up to the building that we saw Aurora in a little bit earlier when we looked at the map overview. This is that one that was getting shot at by the dancing DMG. And that is going to be Aurora just ahead of them, I believe, that they are looking at. So Aurora and the Zesty Besties inside of those little 1-story buildings in the middle. 5-star just outside of the zone as it currently stands, trying to shoot a drone away. And then we've got DMG also inside of a building in zone, but they're going to have Asian Banger who will be pushing up onto them next. I am interested to see whether 5-star can be able to find a spot now. This is going to be an incredible rotate to watch.
5-star are looking, getting a little bit of extra info here. Now, 5-star, both DMG and 5-star should be aware that the other match point team is in play, so there might be a little bit of safety being utilized here to make sure that they don't go down to one of those other teams, especially here, DMG in a really good spot. Now, they're 5-star having to fight their way through. We'll see DMG get a knock. Squad wipe. Asian Bagger have gone down. 5 squads left, 2 of them match point.
Folks, this might well be the game. As it currently stands, almost half of the lobby on match point, but we still have got Aurora and Zesty Bestie and Seeds who are trying to say, no, not today. We want one more game. DMG are doing a lot of shots getting fired, a lot of nades being thrown, a lot of utility just to try and take out this Seeds team who are currently locating themselves behind this pillar, but they're doing such a good job with the rampart walls to just make sure they survive, and DJ has to dip on back so that he doesn't get knocked. They do have Future inside of that crypto drain, trying to get a little bit more information as we are going to be seeing where this ring is going to be pulling. And it's straight out into the open. I can see why this is, but that you can see why they were trying to focus Seeds now, because Seeds have actually got that slight open space and could be the difference maker. DMG have got to be careful that nobody else tries to pull up onto them. Aurora are the closest team from the west-hand side, so might well trying to pull up. That is not the breakable glass that's going to be coming next season. There, Chaos, just an FYI.
little bit excited, a little bit jumping the gun there a little bit, and maybe just saying, you know what, screw it, let's just run it. Aurora jumping in. Aurora, no, this is not the fight that you want. They're losing so many members. They are now just down to 2, and there is low HP on Orain. Orain, the last member surviving, and Aurora not likely to survive for much longer. Everything has fallen apart. They have gotten enough points for match point, but the problem is if they go down, half the teams left are able to close this series.
If only they had the crypto still remaining, at least they would then be able to stick the res. But unfortunately for them, it's just the Maggie, which is not going to do too much. Meanwhile, we have seen Dark fall. It means that 5-star are now down to just a solo, and it's going to be Vod who takes them down. I believe that is from Seeds that's taken them out. 5-star, again, crypto is on his knees, not going to be able to do anything, and surely this might be the end. Tries to get the swap, but ends up accidentally sticking the revive. Seeds now, as we mentioned, in such a powerful spot to close this one out.
Seeds need to be able to close this one out. It is Seeds, Zesty Besties, and DMG. 3 squads remain. Seeds gonna see DMG send it, and they're gonna turn and try and pull the trigger themselves. It is a scramble right now, and Seeds have a lot to work with. DMG have lost a member, and maybe Seeds have been able to pull it off, but they've lost all their shields. Zesty Besties have come into the fight as well.
You can tell that Seeds here getting a little bit nervous, not sure what to do. The panic is set in, and the fire coming out for the Maggie might well spell the end for Seeds here, but the Valkyrie is still surviving as we're seeing Chaos Feelings taken down. It's DMG who are down to 2 players, but they get taken out, and Zesty Besties have clutched it up.
Oh my goodness. What could and probably should have been a finish to the series. Zesty Besties play perfectly to not just take Seeds out, but to take DMG down with them. Zesty Besties save the series, and we are likely going to have a lot more teams on this match point.
I am in awe of what we just saw right now, and this is going to be massive because as soon as we can, I want to see that that leaderboard, because with that, Seeds before this game had 40 points. They came in 2nd place there. We had the Zesty Besties who were in 9th place on 34 points. Bare minimum, they've got 12, as well as all the kills. I want to know how many teams we've got on match point as soon as we can, because we are potentially going to be having an insane game number 7.
Yeah, we are gonna have to see here. I do believe we are gonna have a quick break as we get ready for the next game. But we are gonna take a look at the leaderboard first. So we will take a look and see exactly where we're at. And guess what? We got a lot of people on match point now. We got Seeds, Aurora, 5 stars, Zesty Besties able to jump their way into it as well. And DMG have a lot of friends that I don't think they were prepared to have. So now things get very, very interesting.
DMG, they do have a nice 24-point cushion, though. So if, for some reason, they don't close this one out, you would say that they're feeling pretty comfortable in that sort of at least guaranteeing a 2nd place mark. But I know for a fact, with the way that they started this series, the way that they played the rest of this series, this tournament as a whole, DMG are going to be wanting to close this one out and coming away as your winners. But as you mentioned, 4 other teams have joined them, and there are even more on the precipice of reaching that match point. Asian Banger, one of them, who could, and probably with the resources they had, should have at least got 2 more points with P2020s and a Kraber to boot.
Oh,
Unfortunately for Asian Banger, they fall 2 points short. Fully Talked as well. Yeah, I mean, they Fully Talked, they had that insane fight up at Humbat Labs at the very beginning of the game. They closed that one out, and they've made match point.
yeah, a very interesting game, I think. I think what really kind of just keeps me interested here is just the amount of teams going into this next game. It has been boiling and boiling and boiling, and we have just hit the peak basically now of there is a lot of teams that are not only on match point, but a lot of teams that are moving up to match point. So if for some reason we do not get a victor in this next game with a quarter of the teams on match point, there's likely going to be at least 2 or 3 more, maybe 4 teams that jump into match point, which put us at like 8 or 9 teams. That is terrifying.
That is an insane proposition. As we do go into this, it does look like we are going to be going in with 19 squads. Unfortunately, the Dill Ducks do look like they are going to be floating away down into another pond for now. So Dill Ducks
Somebody tossed some bread out.
They've tossed some bread. They got distracted. So unfortunately won't be joining us as we head our way back on to E District as we start our map themes once again, going through E District. If we go to another game, back on to World's Edge and then Storm Point once again. But that means we've got to go through more games, and I can't tell you, but I'm excited for this one right now. Back on to E District and Aurora. I've mentioned this before. The Demons of E District, they managed to get themselves obviously a little bit of a throw in that last game, but they still managed to put themselves in a top 5 position, I believe it was, in that game, which means that they have consistently put themselves probably on average around about 2nd place on this map with 3 wins. I wouldn't put it against them to see this one closed out, particularly when we see where this next ring is going to pull.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting now as we get into what is past what a normal series would be. We have gone the full gamut. We are back to our essentially what was our first match on E District in terms of just like the map rotation. So we are on game number 7, and endurance starts to come into play at this point because teams that have had that really strong start has the stress started to hit, right? Like if I'm on DMG and I've been on match point this many times and I was just about to possibly win the whole thing, you gotta wonder where the mental is at after you can't close it out for a 4th time.
I mean, right now, what we've just seen there is based on initial pull, it could well be pulling over towards Aurora's area. But right now, these guys don't care. T2G Titans instantly getting into a fight right now. And oh my gosh, have we got an AFK player? Oh no.
Hacks.
Didn't realize. That is heartbreaking there for Hacks. Hopefully they've landed in a safe spot, might be able to get themselves back into the game shortly, won't be taken out. VLF, though, are going to be making their way over as, we do see at the moment, this ring pull is kind of insane right now. It starts off as a moving slightly sort of central west, and then the second ring bounces all the way back over towards Energy Bank. And do you know who lands at Energy Bank? DMG.
And it's interesting because it does still follow. A lot of people will go like, "How do you read that?" It still follows the ring logic that kind of exists. Of it is close to Blossom Drive. It is close to over to that western side, but it is not fully encompassing Blossom Drive. It is essentially not touching the edge of Blossom Drive, which means it is much more likely to pull back the other direction, which it does do in this case. VLF not going to have time to think about that because they are in the middle of a fight for their lives. Enigma has gone down. We are, again, getting action right out the gate. It is a complete firefight in multiple spots around the map.
And right now, Asian Banger are going to be getting aggressive right now, taken down by January. And this is going to be Brown taking them down in this fight. But Brown get taken out as well from the third fight. Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable what we're watching here.
This is a mess. And I do want to point out 2 kills on Asian Bagger, which means they do get match point, assuming we don't end on this one. So next game, they did what they had to do. They have accomplished their goal, but they need more teams to do the work for them at this point.
Also, misread by me. Although it was February getting taken out, it was the wrong February, and it was Baby Seals, not Brown, who got eliminated there. So Brown are still in this right now, which is good for them because they started this game on 44 points, and with teams already falling, they've got the opportunity to make it onto.
That's not February.
Well.
That's our February. Of course. Like, we need to be distinct here.
5-star, one of those match point teams right now. Going to be currently located inside of that next zone. As you can see on the mini-map to the right. Zooming in, and they're getting some kills as well. K2S. This is, I mean, dyslexia was taken all over there. Lost at sea. I've lost the fight.
Unfortunate for Lost at Sea, but they will still have to hope that more teams are able to close things out from here. It is getting increasingly scary because 5 match point teams, and I want to say the vast majority, if not all of them, are still in this game. We have DMG, Zesty Besties. We do have Seeds. We do have Aurora. 5-star is still in. Yeah, all teams are still in this. It is we have lost basically a quarter, and a quarter of the teams from the start were able to win the whole series at this point.
What we're seeing right there, by the way, is 5-star trying to use the crypto with the new upgrade to crypto's kit to try and pick up the Evo cash from afar. Unfortunately, was just about 5 meters too far away. By the time he'd moved up to, try and get that space, somebody shoots out the drone. So not able to get the Evo cash. And now Dig Vibes is going to be stuck with around about 400 Evo remaining until gets onto that purple. Meanwhile, we are going to be jumping on board with Aurora. They're going to be making the way up around about by Humber Labs way. And they're going to be trying to find their way through a pretty stacked area. Fully Talked and No Name are just ahead of them, as are 5-star on the other side. And a nice little shot there from that player in the air from Slab.
I have also just realized, too, what this ring likely means. Because this ring is likely going to go in the Energy Bank area, which means all the teams that are match point are going to grab a building and they are going to chill out. We are going to be stressful. We are going to go till the end of this match. So there is going to be a lot on people's minds here. Fully Torqued in the middle of a fight here, and they are going to lose their fuse. It is a 1-for-1 trade as Fully Torqued now need to find the other 2 members and maybe get that KP while they're at it.
That is going to be against Chicas as well. Chicas, who belongs to No Name. So No Name now down to a duo, and No Name are going to have to try and reset and try and make their way into Stadium, which I believe is where the nearest crafter is. But that's where Aurora are currently based, so not great for No Name and for people wanting this to continue on, as Fully Talked also are taking so much damage. Cybercats, meanwhile, are going to be down in Street Market up against Seeds.
Seeds, one of those teams that we've been keeping an eye on. Cybercats would love to be able to take them out and continue this onslaught here. They had a really good start to the day, but have struggled since then, not able to get that full bag off, and Cybercats have lost a member right out the gate. Shield's gone on their Valkyrie as well, and Cybercats now with just a single member. Seeds might be taking another team down because they've got a 2v1 situation. They just are taking it slow bit by bit. Full send from the crypto, and Cybercats go down.
Cybercats, who had such a good redemption arc in those loser brackets. Unfortunately, it's not quite clicked for them today in the finals so far. Currently sat in 12th position, and going out in 15th is not going to help them by any means. Meanwhile, we are back on board here with 5-star, who have now managed to make themselves up onto the purple shield. They're going to be feeling pretty good, and they're going to be making their way up towards this building once again. As we said, match point teams with an energy bank ending probably are going to try their best to find themselves a place that they can call home. But 5-star, I do have to say, for a team who are on match point, currently rocking the Fuse and the Pathfinder, that is not a bunker down combo.
Nope. It certainly is not. But Fuse is really good at dealing with people that are bunkered down. Is the answer. So 5-star have said, we know everybody's going to try and hold ground. It's E District. Of course you're going to do that. There aren't a lot of incredibly strong bunker down legends that are left. We've taken out the Caustic, the Newcastle. Alter's breach ability is not in play. So what do? You take the Fuse and you throw knuckle clusters inside the windows over and over and over again.
Particularly when Maggie was our last legend who was banned as well.
Yup.
So with Maggie gone, Fuse is your last hope of salvo. And Aurora are going to be currently looking to get a little bit of a Valk ult to pull themselves north towards Galleria. Meanwhile, Gooning for Wig are in a fight up against Brown. Or at least will be.
Let's see. Yeah, at least will be. G2W on the move. Juicy schmoves, specifically. And Aurora taking some HP inside the ring to get inside this next round. G2W, though, in the middle of a fight. Gonna see that EMP come out and immediately start hitting the bat midway through. Drone will see where there are nades flying in as well. Fuse ult gonna be thrown down to stop an aggressive push. And G2W now healing up with the time they bought themselves.
The Sheila looking at them. Going to put out those knuckle clusters to try and take away those walls, but they have got the altar. The Ash even. There's no altar left in play. The Ash is going to get them out via that portal, but they're going to continue pushing up. Knuckle clusters trying to do what they can to stop it from happening. And Gooning to Wig are going to be back into this building, trying to hold off the push from Brown.
Right now, G2W still peaking. Aurora
Taking down Manito's Aurora there. So Manito's are out. Aurora dealing with those non-match point teams on the edge of zone.
Exactly, yeah. Aurora have been cleaning up around the sides here. Meanwhile, we look at our match point teams. We're still sitting with everybody in match point.
I do want to note right now, Brown. Obviously, they had that fight against Gooning to Wig, so Gooning to Wig are still here. But you've also got No Name, who've just reset inside of zone and are also here as well. And that's who they're going to be getting into a little bit of an engagement with. March has pushed up very aggressively and is potentially going to go down. They do indeed fall. January has got to try and watch over them. They do have a Rampart, so that if Rampart is able to get up, they'll be able to put some shields down, provide some cover to March on the ground to maybe try and get them back up as January watches over. And with scout shots like that, it might well be enough to stick the res. That is what is happening right now. Hopefully, March will be able to get back on, but No Name with an aggressive ass combo right now.
Yeah, No Name are just full sending it. Meanwhile, they lose their Mirage. Chickus will heal up with the Octane passive here, as Jose will be following here, and they're going to hit for the revive onto this Mirage. That is going to be a support legend, so will get full HP. No, they're not going to send it. They're not going to stick the heal. They want to get inside this ring and not risk losing more HP.
Tough there, as No Name. Thankfully, they do have the Octane, so are going to be able to go very quickly, but unfortunately for them, go straight into the path of a Fuse ult, which isn't ideal. Chickass, though, is doing a great job of surviving for now. But look at those knuckle clusters coming in. And with shots like that from Dig Vibes of 5-star, they are not in a good place right now. On board now with the Seeds.
Seeds getting aggressed upon just a little bit. They have a solid building for themselves, so they can just heal back up. Not a huge worry or concern for them as the rings continue to get smaller and smaller. Ironically, our energy bank ring is going to be taking us a little bit more into the open than on those northern sides. So these teams do have to move out a little bit. There is not going to be a bunch of bunkered down teams, except for a team like Zesty Besties that has the Rampart shields to buy themselves sometimes. 5-star might be in trouble. One member down, Dark on low HP, no shields on their healthiest member.
Fully talked, pushing up aggressively onto this and taking them down. 5-star, one of your match point teams are out. Also, I don't think we realized this. DMG went down in 12th.
DMG went down. I did not realize this. So that means what we have left is Zesty Besties and Seeds and Aurora for our match point teams. 3 of the 8.
And right now, you've got Seeds just on the south edge of the zone, very close to the Zesty Besties, so they may well engage on the next ring close. You've also got Aurora up on the bridge, very close to where we're seeing Fully Talked as they go up here into the middle of Energy Bank. Aurora, here you go, underneath the bridge even. With those rampart walls, they've also got Hayaka on the Gibby, which could well be massive in a zone like this.
This is very scary for honestly all of the match point teams. Aurora are kind of surrounded by a lot of teams. They're in this next ring, so they don't need to move just yet. However, it is still very scary because of how many teams could just easily send them. Zesty Besties and Seeds are relatively off from the rest of these teams. However, they are far from where this next zone likely pulls, and they are right next to each other.
Fully Talked, trying to do what they can to survive. Minimap in the top left has disappeared, but in a second we will be finding out where we will be going next, and it is going to continue to pull up towards Aurora and Asian Banger, as Fully Talked are going to be going down to just one. It's just KJ the Pro doing what they can, but it is not enough. Fully Talked gets taken down.
Fully Torqued down is huge because now, again, lots of teams still here on match point. As we are seeing Flesh on another team, it is looking likely that Brown will go down as well. We're down to 6 squads remaining. Zesty Besties losing a lot of HP, and they walk into another team. That is another match point team gone, down to 5 squads. Seeds and Aurora are the teams to watch.
They are indeed. Seeds with some good shots there, trying to survive and make their way back. The Crypto does get back into cover. So for now, Seeds are in a good spot as the mean guys fall as well. 50% of our teams remaining are on match point.
And Aurora is our singular team that is in the ring right now.
I mean, Seeds, they do have a Valkyrie. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, they do have a
Valkyrie. Hit it? That is the question.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They are going to send it. That's all they can do. Now, what's scary about this is the fact that Aurora have already been set up in that spot, and they know that. Seeds are going to go around behind, and they might get full sent if they're not careful. Going to tank a little bit of ring if they're not paying attention, and they take a lot of damage, and that is a lot onto the Crypto. They do get inside, but nades are going to force them to play very defensively and hope that this Crypto does not go down. They lose the Valk, though, and Seeds might watch everything fall apart.
Asian Banger taking them down as Aurora are going to be continuing to get put pressure upon them by the Fuse, but they are holding strong. And right now, I would not put it against Aurora to close this one out. We know how good they can be on E-Districts, and when everybody else is fighting up against each other, Aurora have got the opportunity to close this one out.
After all this time, Aurora stuck below match point for 3 or 4 games. Do Aurora get on match point and take it? Do what nobody else could do. G2W about to fall as well, and they do go down. Aurora still healthy with 3 squads remaining. It is Seeds, Aurora, and one other team. And remember, Seeds
Asian
Bagger is gone. It's Seeds and Aurora.
Oh my gosh, Seeds versus Aurora. The last time that Aurora were in the top 2 on E-District, they lost to Asian Banger. Asian Banger have fallen this time, and it is now their opportunity. They have got the height, they've got the Gibby, they have got the Rampart. What can they do in this position? I have no idea. I'm putting this on an Aurora win.
It is full 3v3. Seeds should have had the time to get themselves back to full health, but Aurora are in the better spot. Round 6 just about to close.
Aurora with some good shots, but Slab
Slab.
takes so much damage. Seed do get the knock, though, onto VOD. That is a massive first knock. They're going to be looking to try and push with the PK. The
full fin.
bubble is going to full send this. The bubble, the gimme. What are you going to be able to do but win it? Aurora are your champions of the CCA anniversary event. Congratulations to the team from EMEA. The E-District Demons do it once again.
You cannot write this story of Aurora getting 5 points away from match point on game 3 and then can't get into match point until just this past game, where they just get over the edge to do so. And not just that, but they go on to win on the map that they are known for being good on, that they could not close it on the previous game. There is so much you could just write a drama about with that series alone.
That was an insane match point finals. The team from EMEA coming from the from across the pond, taking it to the likes of DMG, who came out the gates absolutely storming with double win, putting themselves in the match point after just 2 games. However, they just couldn't quite close it out. Like Aurora then couldn't get themselves onto match point. I'm absolutely flabbergasted by that. It was an unbelievable series, and congratulations to everybody who was performing. Our top team coming into this was Aurora. Was DMG. Aurora, though, took the win. DMG have come away with second place. And with that second place with Seeds, obviously they could have closed it out with the win. I do believe that they are going to come in 3rd position overall. So a huge congratulations to all our teams.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Seeds, I want to give a lot of credit for their back half of this series. They got, in the last 3 games, a 1st place, a 3rd place, and a 2nd place victory. Victory is not the right word, but you know what I mean. It got a 1st place, a 3rd place, and a 2nd place. That is an incredibly good back half. After their first half of the games was not, they got 1/3 place in game 2. Everything leading up to that was everything behind. But it is a absolute crazy run for Seeds, and they have a lot to be proud of. Aurora, though, just a 2nd place start and a 1st place finish. What a time.
I do want to say as well, Aurora, they had a 7.3 average placement. So they weren't even sort of like averaging up there all the time. And it was pretty much that win at the end that's pushed them up. I think they were like 9th average placement going into that game, which is just insane. They did an incredible job, 39 kills to boot. It's just been an incredible evening, and it couldn't have been done without the team over at Crack Media and at CCA.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I want to again remind everybody, if you've been enjoying everything here, that it has been done thanks to them, would not be possible without them, and give them some love in the Discord. If you missed out on the action, all the VODs are going to be on the YouTube in the panels below, and make sure you check out the merch and affiliate deals that are there as well, because it does help out a lot and makes these events possible to happen. If you're looking for those bi-weekly T1 esports content videos, they will be on the loading screen YouTube, with uploads every other Tuesday. If you're looking for gaming industry news, they've got XP Share live every other Sunday at 6 p.m. on this Twitch channel. So make sure you follow and pay attention for that. Find that and related content on the Discord. So make sure you follow and join on that as well.
Well, that has been an incredible evening of action. Thousand Eyes, it was an absolute pleasure to cast alongside you here this evening. And I hope that everybody who has been watching along has enjoyed the action. My name has been Ben B. I've been joined by the incredible Thousand Eyes, and we cannot wait to see you in the next hopefully the next event in the future. Thank you very much.